Sorry. I'm very, very sorry. Okay. We're live. No thanks to me. No thanks to me and my efforts. So I'm going to get some stuff ready while we wait for people to get here. Get my tabs in order. God. Asleep at the switch. Asleep at the switch. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live every Sunday at 7 p.m. And today we're going to talk about some box offices. It's going to be a chill stream, I think. I'm feeling kind of chill. I don't know about you. I've been having a good time with my girlfriend and had a great night. We had an epic night last night, hanging out with some of her friends, and it was a bit of a party, a bit of get together. So that was nice. I haven't had a social life in a long time, so it's been a kind of an adjustment, really. You know, when you're kind of out of the mix for a long time, and then suddenly you're back. It's weird. Dead Souls is here. Hey, Dead Soul says I'm going to Washington D.C. tomorrow. Oh no, is that good? I have a girlfriend. Yes, I do. Congrats. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And things are going very well, I'm happy to say. Don't worry, I'll screw it up soon. But for now, no, I'm just kidding. Things are going well. Things are going very well. Why are you going to D.C., Dead Souls? Touristy reasons, I guess. I'm guessing, or are you my representative all this time? Why didn't you say something, Donald Norcross? Should have just said you were Donald Norcross if that's who you are. My representative from New Jersey. I have a lot of complaints if you're Donald Norcross, by the way. I've been to D.C., but I've never been to me. No, I've been to D.C. I don't know how to describe it. First off, you got to be careful. If you're anywhere in the actual city where people live. Oh, you're going to visit family. That's nice. Ardent, nobody panic. It's just me. Hi, Ardent. JC is here. Hi, hi, hi. Well, that's nice. You're going to visit family. Good for you. Good for you. I hope they live in a nice part of DC. I mean, there are nice parts, just like anywhere else. It's just, DC. It's a big city. My brother used to live not in DC, but kind of near it. And I used to go down Virginia way and visit him. And the thing I noticed about Virginia is it doesn't have a lot of mom and pop restaurants. It has a lot of chain restaurants, which is weird for someone people who grew up in South Jersey. We have chain restaurants, but we tend to go to like mom and pop Italian places. But man, good luck finding them in Virginia. My brother, who's big on restaurants too, he was looking and looking and looking, and he found a few. I mean, there's not none, but it was tough to find. Tough to find a good Italian bakery. Things like that. Very important. Bread is very important to Italians. If you don't know that. In fact, where I am, I have a bakery that I could walk to, but I drive 3 miles out of my way to go to the bakery that I like. So it's a little insight into my world. I would rather drive miles out of my way to get the good bread than to get the bread that's just kind of okay. Yeah. And to me, a good bread, well, let's get into this. This is an important topic. Good bread. If you're not Italian, let me explain what good bread is. Ardent, it used to be more like that here. There's not a lot of mom and pop restaurants left here outside the cities. Yeah, I can imagine that in Canada. It's a shame. Really, they're crushing the mom and pop restaurants here in New Jersey. They crushed them during the pandemic. We lost like 40% of our restaurants. We did have quite a few, some of which maybe shouldn't have opened at all, but most I miss. I miss a few of them. But anyhow, the important topic is bread. So, good bread is kind of like good pizza crust, right? You can't just slap together some flour and water and throw it in the oven and expect good bread. You have to make a good dough and let it rise. Very key. Do, 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 do. Ardent. Light and airy is good for toast. Denser is better for scooping gravy. Dead Souls. Yeah, my uncle just got named colonel in the military. So they had to move to Virginia and D.C. border. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Good for him. Congratulations to him. But I think you mean Colonel, Colonel, not to be a grammar Nazi or anything. You spelled it Colonel like popcorn kernel, just so you know. But good. Congrats to him. Oh, so he must be a high up there if he's a colonel. That's a pretty decent rank. I mean, it's not general, but it's right below there. And yeah, you're on your way. You're a career guy if you're a colonel. So the proper bread, again, dough rising, and then you really want that after you raise the dough, put that in the oven. You want to brush it with some egg white. That gives you that nice shiny crust. You ever see them in Panera? Egg white, maybe some butter. Sometimes the butter too. Get that nice shiny coat, and then you get like the crust. Oh, gotta have good crust. And then it's soft in the middle, but crusty on the outside. That's the way you want it. Dead Souls. Yeah, I mean to spell it that way, but my keyboard corrected me multiple times, so I gave up. Oh, weird. You think it would have corrected you the other way? That's weird. Ardent, LOL. Ardent, fawn technology. Fawn technology? Effin technology. It did it again. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the autocorrect, and YouTube's a little weird. Between the autocorrect and the censorship and generally forbidden topics. Ardent, my woman makes amazing homemade bread. Well, good for you. Yeah. My new girlfriend's a pretty damn good cook. She just made me a cake. Well, she didn't make it for me, but she made it for the party. But I got like half of it. So that was a good score. I had a piece of that after dinner tonight. It was lemon and blueberry with icing, lemon icing on it. Oh, that was good. Because you got the sweetness and the sourness. 3 layers. So, what's going on? Let me tell you what I did this week, just briefly. What the hell date is this? Oh, right, this is the 4th. So I didn't have anything over the weekend, which is why I got to go have fun. But I did have events. I went to a place called Strathmere Library. And Strathmere, we have a place in South Jersey called the Jersey Shore. And people go to the beach and have fun and whatever. Strathmere is like the fancier section of the Jersey Shore. Down south, it would be where rich people would have their beach houses. And not the richest, but up there, maybe in the top 5 richer areas of the Jersey Shore. And then, so they have a nice library there. And I did an event, and that went well. I discovered they have above-ground septic tanks in Strathmere because they don't have sewer lines there, and they need septic tanks, but they also can't bury them. But they also can't just put the tank out on the lawn. So they have to put them in these giant kind of concrete bunkers. So if a storm comes, and there are storms down at the Jersey Shore every once in a while, and that knocks the house away, the septic tank will be saved and won't spill sewage everywhere. So it was weird. I looked outside the library, and there's a giant box for the septic tank filled with gravel made of cement. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And the librarian's like, oh, that's a septic tank for the place next door. And it was right out front. Weird. Very strange. Dead Souls. Sadly, I think the military is getting to my uncle because he barely talks to anyone now, and during family gatherings, he's on his phone the whole time. It makes me nervous. I saw the movie Trap. It wasn't very good, but it wasn't bad either. Huh. Interesting. Well, first, to say about your uncle, I mean, I'm sure he's very busy. He's very busy, being a colonel. Um, I mean, don't get nervous just because he's busy. A lot of guys in the military, but I mean, maybe that's an indicator World War III is on the doorstep. But people do get busy. Um, but addressing the movie Trap, which is why we're here, amongst other movie topics. Um, that's a shame. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. I'll ask you a question, without giving it away, because that's the whole thing with a Night Shyamalan movie. Would you say the twist was worth it, or surprising, or was it just stupid, or was there not a twist? Like, don't, without giving it away, kind of give us a sense of how the twist went. Like, do you see it coming a mile away, or was it like, oh, that's kind of interesting? Because I enjoyed the trailer. I thought the trailer was kind of interesting, but yeah, it was a weird pitch. I'll say this: it looks better than the last, I don't know, 8 M. Night Shyamalan movies that just sort of came and went. Hadn't seemed to go anywhere for him. The other place I went to this week was very interesting. JC, probably going to end up going to see Trapped. I think you mean Trap. My brother was the prop master on it. My mom keeps calling, trying to arrange a date to go with my uncles and aunts too. Yeah, just go. It's a family thing. I skipped one. Hold on. Dead Souls. The guy that plays the main character, he was in the Pearl Harbor movie. Right, that's Josh Hartnett. He had an article out saying he got his daughters out of Hollywood. Good for him, because that's got to be the worst place on the planet to raise daughters. Unless, they're unattractive, I guess. Maybe they'd be slightly safer if they're unattractive, but no, wouldn't raise kids. I wouldn't raise kids in a city, period, but Hollywood for women? Oh, God. No. No. That place is warped, man. And hot blondes do grow on trees there. I've seen it. You cannot imagine walking around that place. The genes in that city. Oh, man. There are a lot of hot women in that town. Just one hotter than the next. But I also think women kind of gravitate towards cities because they like parties and big city life and the nightlife and stuff, especially when they're young and hot. So I don't know. I've noticed that too. It's true with Philly and New York and a lot of places. Although these days, yeah, I wouldn't know because I wouldn't set foot in the city unless I absolutely have to. Dead Souls. And yeah, the plot was actually super good, but the trailer gave away who the person was, kind of. I don't know. So it bummed me out that I kind of knew who it was the whole time and the movie went on. That's terrible. That I blame on marketing. Jesus. Because that's a marketing thing. You hear me complain about the trailers. Dead Souls. His kids are only like 0 to 4 years old, I think. Yeah, but you got to get them out early. Because in that town, they're casting little kids too. You don't want little kids. You definitely don't want to raise a child star now. I mean, maybe like, I don't know, when I was a kid, it would have been kind of okay if you had a parent who knew what they were doing, but JC, I don't even know the title of the movie, let alone the trailer. Yeah, don't watch the trailer. It'll probably ruin it for you. I won't say what happens here, but it is a cool trailer if you watch that thinking like, oh, there's going to be another twist on top of that, but don't watch the trailer then at all if you want to be surprised in the movie. Would be my advice. It's a shame. Yeah, I think the marketing guys gave away the store. It's a good trailer, but I sort of assumed there was more to the plot, not that it gave away the whole store. That's a shame. that's a real shame because that's not on M. Night Shyamalan. That's on the marketing team. They may not have gotten the movie. You know? It's like giving away, well, I don't want to say without screwing up the movie, but it'd be like, you know, cutting a trailer for Rosebud and then telling everybody it was the sled. Spoilers if you haven't seen Citizen Kane. Sorry, cutting a trailer for Citizen Kane, not Rosebud. That was the name of the sled. Anyhow. Oh, so my second event for the Pineys this week was a River Road Clam House. And you guys have no idea what that is. Dead Souls. A kid actor that just turned 18 in December. He turned out to have said the N-word multiple times, and he's getting canceled for it. So much for his upcoming career. Oh, really? I don't know who that is. I haven't heard that one. Jesus. You can't drop that word. You can't even come close to dropping that word. People have been canceled for saying a word that sounds like that word. That's just insane. No way. No way you come back from that in Hollywood. You know, I love the guys who are like, oh, well, I heard the black guys say it, and I was just singing a song. Yeah, it's not, that's never worked. Like in the 70s, you could say that, well, I shouldn't say you could say that word. It was context. They would look at the context. They said that word on Saturday Night Live in a sketch. And no one was canceled because it was a sketch. I think it was Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor. I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And they were doing a bit where Richard Pryor goes in, and it's a word association with his therapist. And so he says cat, and Richard Pryor says dog, and they go back and forth. But eventually they get racist, and it gets very funny. And people, and the audience is hysterical laughing. And it was a very funny sketch. You can watch it. These days, oh my God. Watch the sketch and you tell me if they could ever do that again. On TV? No way. Not today. Because these snowflakes are so damn sensitive. It's all about context, but they don't care about that. Dead Souls. He is white too and literally typed it out through the text on Discord and accidentally showed the message on his live stream to thousands of people. Oh, man. What the hell, dude? I guess he's trying to be edgy. That's like the Michael Richards thing. Remember that? Kramer tried to do stand-up and started dropping N-bombs. Like he didn't even have... Like, he attempted to pass it off as comedy, but, like, he didn't even have the resume to do that. Lenny Bruce did that back in the early 60s. And he got away with it. But different time. There was a time actors, comedians could use those words in certain context and get away with it. And no one would even think about canceling them. They would say, oh, well, obviously he didn't mean it that way. These days, no, there's people who live on the internet. That's all they live for. Finally somebody said the N-word. Oh, now I can be unleashed. You know, there are people who just sit around all day. That's all they do is dream about that and get a huge boner once it happens. So, yeah, you can't get away with that. You know, maybe, like, I wrote it in a story once. I'll tell you that. I won't tell you the name of the story, but I dropped it in a story one time. But, you know, it was context. It was like a racist biker character saying it. And it's important to the plot, but Dead Souls. And people from his high school came out recently and said he would mock people of different race and would be totally jerk to them. Well, that's a little different. I mean, again, context. You know, again, you know, back in the day, you could make fun of people. You know, Don Rickles used to, you know, lampoon people for various racial things. People thought he was a genius, and now they would just look back at him and say, oh, he's a dated racist. But people are too sensitive. People don't care about context. They just care about power and getting up on one another. I was telling you about the River Road Clam House. I got distracted again. Okay, so River Road Clam House is located in Lower Bank, New Jersey, right on the river there. Or, no, not the river, really. It was the Delaware Bay. And, oh, man, it was so friggin' hot. But it was kind of a cool place to do it. So I ended up selling 26 books, which was pretty good. I mean, not the best day I ever had, but pretty decent for just sitting on a porch at a seafood. It's a place that sells seafood. But they also have a handful of Piney books, and my uncle knew the guy who runs the place, so he was a nice guy. Ardent, I miss Rickles. I miss Rickles, too. He was a genius. I'll tell you the awesome story about Rickles if you haven't heard it already. For those of you who don't know who he is, Don Rickles was a comedian at the time of, like, Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, okay? And if you don't know who Frank Sinatra is, I can't help you. But so Frank Sinatra one time is out in Las Vegas where these guys always were performing, and he's having dinner with his wife or whatever, and Don Rickles comes in with his family, and he's across the way having dinner with his in-laws or something. And dead souls, the only jokes that get me are the plain jokes. So Don Rickles comes up to Frank Sinatra and he says, "Hey Frank, I'm over at a few tables away with my in-laws. If you can come over and just say hi, I'd really appreciate it." And Frank Sinatra and him were friends, and he was like, "Oh yeah, sure, no big deal." So Don Rickles goes back to his table with his in-laws and his wife, and they start having dinner or talking. And Frank Sinatra, after a few minutes, comes over to say hi, and because he's super famous. And the moment he gets there, Don Rickles looks at him and goes, "Frank, we're trying to have dinner here. Do you mind?" So, like, you get it. He set him up and then made him look like an idiot. But, like, Frank Sinatra got it, and he laughed. And he was just a genius that way. Dead Souls. Like, I try not to joke about 9/11 because it always tends to crash and burn. Nice. Remember when you couldn't tell that joke? Yeah. Remember when you couldn't tell that joke? I don't know, give it another, let's see. 9/11, that was 2001. It's 2024. Now you can tell those jokes. So let's say 20 years. So 20 years from now, you might be able to drop the N-bomb in a joke again. You might be able to do it. I'm not suggesting you try it now. Leave that to Melanie Mack. I mean, I'm sure she'll graduate to that word eventually. No, I'm just joking. It's a joke. In case you don't know, Melanie Mack is a YouTuber who frequently, for some reason, she's on a crusade to bring back the F word for gay people. I don't know why. She just keeps saying that word. That's what she's sort of famous for. And she's pretty hot. I mean, she's young, so she's way too young for me, but she seems pretty and like super Christian. That's like her whole shtick. Dead Souls. Some people are just such snowflakes. Yes, they are. I don't really listen to Melanie Mack. Every once in a while, she just ends up in my feed because, like, I watch The Quartering and a few others that are sort of associated with her. Every once in a while, I click on one of her videos, but I can never seem to get into her. I don't know. Maybe it's just the cadence of her voice or something. I did, however, watch a Dave Cullen video today because he made a video about writing, and I had a response for it. So if you're a Dave Cullen fan, check out my video response to that. Ardent. Melanie Mack, God bless her heart, has a pretty sharp sense of humor, but it comes off as stilted occasionally. Yeah, she seems fine. I don't know. I've never totally gotten into her, but Dead Souls. I get Logan Paul on my feed, and it's annoying. Really? It's weird. Okay, so what are we doing today? All right, we're checking the numbers. That's what we're here for, to check the box office and see. So anyway, just to wrap up on the River Road Clam House. Awesome place for seafood. I wanted to buy everything inside. It was so delicious looking. All the fresh fish. I mean, literally come out of the bay, sell them the fish, and then sell them to you. That's how fresh it was. They had guys. There was a lot of people doing, clam bakes this weekend. Guy came in, he got 8 bags of clams. Had to take it out in a little, forklift thingy. Not forklift, pallet jack, whatever you want to call it. Oh man, the seafood. Anyhow, Deadpool versus Wolverine is #1 in its second week. Not surprising. Dead Souls, I want Deadpool to beat Barbie so bad. I don't know if it'll beat it, but it'll definitely hit $1 billion. I mean, it dropped by 54%, which wasn't too bad. I kind of was hoping it would even be a little less than 50%, do like 49, but that's pretty good. So we're at 824 for total box office. Next week, it's likely to only drop to about 50 million domestic, 50 million international. So that'll be another 100 million. The week after, it'll do like 50 million for domestic and international. So that'll and then the stuff in between the week ought to put it over $1 billion. I don't know, to beat Barbie. Dead Soul. I was just gonna look. How much is Barbie at? I think it's a little. I think it. Well, 1.4. I thought it was at 1.5. I don't know, man. Let's see. That was 636 and 8. I don't know. It may match it. It may match it. It's already the highest grossing R-rated film. It will probably be the first. It should be the first film, R-rated film, to make $1 billion. So it's breaking all kinds of records. 1.4 though. Yeah, next week it'll be at like 940. The week after it should hit $1 billion. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more like 1.2, but maybe if you add maybe if they do like a big Blu-ray release or something, because this is one they should definitely. I mean, they didn't. It's not even listed on Barbie, so who knows? Because Barbie you would think would be one that people would buy, but nobody's really selling or buying DVDs and Blu-rays anymore. So I don't know. And then you got streaming, but this is just gonna go to Disney Plus, I guess. Or will this not? Because is this still Fox? I can't figure that out. Or is it Fox and Disney for this one? Dead Souls. I can't remember. Did Barbie beat Oppenheimer? Sorry, I misspelled that. Or was it a tie? No, Barbie definitely beat Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer didn't even crack $1 billion. If it might have just done it by now, but I don't know if I spelled Oppenheimer right. I think I spelled it the way you did. Oh no, no, 2 P's. Yeah, it's at 976. They tried to get it to $1 billion. They tried so hard to get it to $1 billion. They left it in theaters, I think. Yeah, so this is about 500,000 short of where Barbie is. But it's close enough. That's still tons and tons of money. But Deadpool and Wolverine will beat this. Oh yeah, this should beat this next week. Next week we'll be in probably $1 billion territory. Barbie will be tough though. I don't know. You know what? Let's see what Barbie did opening weekend. Opening weekend, Barbie did 162. And I think Deadpool did more than that. Yeah. So it maybe, I don't know. I don't know if Deadpool has the legs that Barbie did. It beat Barbie for the opening weekend, though. Look at that. It made all its money back on the production in one weekend. That's the way you make a movie. If you don't make your production budget back on the first weekend for a movie like this, you probably effed it up. So, Souls. I feel like most people only see Deadpool for Ryan Reynolds. No, I mean, I think Hugh Jackman is a big enough draw. I think there's a bit of a female fan base for Hugh Jackman. He's got, you know, tendrils in other communities. He's a Broadway guy, so, and women just like him because he's good looking. Same thing with Ryan Reynolds, and he's got a slight audience for the ladies, but he's sort of out of that role. But Hugh Jackman's other movies, you know, they weren't all Wolverine. So, yeah, I think there's a little bit of a broader appeal, but not much. Dead Souls, that doesn't make sense. How can it beat the opening weekend but not the rest of the weeks? Because it doesn't have the legs. It doesn't have, like, Barbie was the sort of thing that women got caught up, and it was mostly aimed at women. They got caught up in going to see with their friends. So and it's also a matter of the timing. There's not a lot going up against Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't think. What's coming out? Borderlands. Nah, that's not really competition. Maybe the Joker movie. Avengers Doomsday. That's not out for a while. I don't know what's coming out off the top of my head. I think Borderlands is coming out soon, and Joker's coming out at some point. I forget when. I don't think that's till the fall, though. So I don't think Deadpool and Wolverine has much competition either. JC, I think people know Deadpool now. They like the character. Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's mostly because Ryan Reynolds. They like him, too. Dead Souls. Oop, I just got an ad, and it scared me. Oh, sorry. I put it on the lowest amount of possible ads for a live stream. I'm not seeing the new Joker movie. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence too. I'm going to wait until the nerds weigh in. I do have hope because Todd Phillips did a great job with the first movie. However, he did a great job with The Hangover in the first movie, and I kind of hate the sequels. I mean, like, really hate them. Especially the third one. God, the third one's, like, unwatchable. And that really, really was disappointing, The Hangover. Because I think The Hangover could have been funny. You know, the sequels. And man, after they blew it on the second one, I was like, oh my God, you're doing a third one? It seemed like they completely threw away the relationship between Zach Galifianakis and Bradley Cooper, which to me was part of the hilarity of the first one. Dead Souls, it's not the same without Margot Robbie, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Margot Robbie dodged a bullet. I don't think Joker 2 will do poorly because the Lady Gaga fans will go see it. Dead Souls, because I'm so used to seeing her as Harley Quinn. Yeah, but most of her movies have been terrible too. I mean, the Suicide Squad movie with her, that to me, they finally got it right. Like, that to me was Harley. Because she was nuts. Like, she goes way too far in that one scene. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. And you're like, holy crap, she is nuts. You know, in the other movies, the problem with a lot of these types of movies is they're just too important now. And there's too many people involved. There's, you know, these were characters that a bunch of dudes created on the fly making comic books. It's something I do every day. It's something a lot of people can do every day. And if you're even moderately talented, you can come up with a bunch of cool characters for your superhero universe or whatever universe. I'm doing it with the Pineys. I'm having a great time. It's not rocket science. And then, like, if you treat the characters as more important than they are, it won't work, you know. So, for instance, in the Pineys, because that's what I write, you could make a huge $500 million film, you know, with the Pineys, and make the characters, you know, super important to the world, saving the world. But that's not what it's about. That's not the way I would want it portrayed. I would want it portrayed in a more grounded way where the characters were having fun, where the actors were having fun, that obeyed the books religiously, and, you know, just had some fun with it. Dead Souls. I love her outfits in the Suicide Squad movie, though. They made some of them almost accurate. Yeah, I mean, Margot Robbie's super smoke show, no doubt. You know, and the thing about Harley is, really, Harley was a very old character, originally introduced as a alternate universe DC Comics character. She was originally the Joker's daughter. That was the original concept behind the character. So in one of the alternate Earths in the DC universe, the Joker had a daughter, and it was Harley Quinn. Then later, in the 90s, when they did the animated series, they brought back Harley Quinn, rebooted her as the Joker's girlfriend, mostly, I think, to give the Joker a more human side, because the problem with the Joker, and I think the guys who did the early 90s Batman animated show sort of realized this, you can't just make a character super, super murderous all the time, constantly. Like, making him a serial killer was just too much for the Joker. It made him too murderous, and it made Batman's job impossible. And really, by turning him into more of a criminal who was... he was crazy and killed his own guys and stuff, but, you know, maybe he was just greedy and maybe he's just power hungry or whatever. You have some place to go with it. You could always make him a total serial killer maniac later. I mean, he was a psychopath still, but it gives you some room to play with the character and give him a little tension, give him a little humanity so he doesn't always kill everybody. And so Harley Quinn was interesting in that respect, because you didn't know if the Joker was gonna, you know, make out with her, marry her, kill her, or whatever. Dead Souls. Harley Quinn also dates Ivy in the show they made about her. Yeah, I have no interest in that show. I have no interest in gay Harley Quinn and their various gay versions of DC characters. I mean, that's their move to jour now. Hey, guess what? The character's gay. Hey, guess what? A character's gay. Hey, guess what? A character's gay. Hey, guess what? No one's reading your comics or watching your shows. You know, and again, just because, you know, I don't watch shows like, is this character straight? I watch shows because they're good. I don't, you know, decide to watch shows based on the sexuality of the people in the show, the characters in the show. I don't watch shows based on, you know, whether they're Italian or whatever. Dead Souls, I don't either, because it's weird. Yeah, and there's that too. I mean, they've kind of pushed the comedy aspect of Harley Quinn over the cliff, and they've done this in the comics too. Like, Harley Quinn became the Venom of DC Comics. I don't know if you remember when Venom was hot, right? So Venom was introduced way back in the day. Dead Souls, I mean, there's nothing wrong with guys, or with gays, but stop making straight people gay, please. Yeah. Like, they could have introduced new characters, but the problem is these people have no talent, in my view. The people doing this stuff usually have no talent, or they're subverting their own talent for the message. Like, what is it? Bruce Timm, I think, is working on the new Cape Crusader, and it's getting, you know, it's getting pilloried by the nerds. They, you know, it's all woke nonsense. They made like the Penguin female or non-binary or something. They made They race swapped Harley Quinn and made her different. Like the one character you didn't even need to change for your crazy gay agenda. You changed her. Like that would be the one character you wouldn't change. You could say, well, see, she was gay in the regular show, so in the 40s she's gay too. But instead, like the show seems to focus on Detective Montoya and her gay relationship there. Like, what the hell? It's supposed to take place in the 40s. These people were so deep in the closet they didn't even say the word gay. But yeah, that's I guess that's Bruce Timm now. He was anxious to jump on that bandwagon, according to a report by Dictor von Dooncock. If you watch his channel, WDW Pro or DWD Pro or whatever his name is, because I don't know, he's woke. He's decided he's woke, and he's like, I'm gonna show everybody how gay things can be, and I'm gonna piss off all the chuds. JC, you wouldn't have a female detective back in the 40s. Yeah, she wouldn't even be female, much less gay. Dead Souls, I mean multiverse. I mean, you could do a whole multiverse thing and say, oh, well, it's a multiverse in the 40s where gay people were all over the place, but that's stupid too. Like, what do you get by that? You get nothing. You get nothing. But everyone in Hollywood seems to be convinced the moment you put a gay character or a trans character or a person of color in the main role, that instantly it's a success. Even though we have countless examples where it's not. This is because you have a bunch of people who have been told in no uncertain terms, this is what we want. This is the way Hollywood is. When they decide they want something, they want it, and that's it. What's wrong, little Joan? I heard you moaning over here. Here, come say hi to everybody. Are you okay? What's wrong? You annoyed because you're stuck on the seat? All right. You smell good, though. That's a change. I got Joan this new collar. Makes her smell nice. Dead Souls, because people keep saying that Venom and Spider-Man may be connected. Oh, right. So I was telling you about Venom. So when they initially introduced Venom, you know, it was a cool character. First they introduced the costume, then it turned into Venom, and it was very organic. But eventually they ended the story. They ended the story a couple of times, but the character was too popular, and Marvel eventually brought him back as the Lethal Protector, which is what I think they based the initial Venom story on, because I think that's what the comic did. I think he moved him to San Francisco. You know, they just picked a city. Oh, well, we got to pick a city that's not New York, and Spider-Man's not there, and he never reads the newspapers, so he can't possibly know that Venom's in San Francisco or travel there. So that was the plan, and then they made Venom like a hero, kind of, sort of, not really. It was dumb. Should have kept him a villain. Should have kept him out of the limelight, you know, so he could appear once in a while and be an interesting villain, as opposed to now a character I can't stand to see. But in the movies, they haven't quite destroyed him yet. I mean, Tom Hardy's a good actor. Ardent, they did have a Venom in the multiverse MCU. That's true. Dead Souls, because I think it would be awesome for Spider-Man and Venom to meet. Well, yeah, I think that's the plan eventually, but man, they're taking their good old time. So, I don't know. At this point, I don't know if they're even going to do it, because they're so stupid. But, you know, they're too busy trying to create more IPs. Intellectual properties. Oh, we got to have more IPs. That's why there were all these rumors about all this Spider-Man spin-offs they were trying to do. They were going to do the Hypno Hustler with Donald Glover. It was a dumb idea. Nobody knows who the hell the Hypno Hustler is. I mean, Venom I can see. You know, he was popular enough. You could maybe put him in his own thing. The Hypno Hustler, no way. Maybe Black Cat, but a little too close to Catwoman, if you ask me. Always was in the comics. You know, they just don't care. They're just out. Look, they're out to make money. They're corporate guys. They should listen to their creative people. because a creative person could at least make it work to some degree. Ardent, ideally, they would meet at Madame Web's place. She was so awesome. Right. Another character they should have never spun off. Oh, and Morbius. Don't forget Morbius. Morbius could have actually worked, though. I don't know what happened there. Morbius was his own character. I mean, he was essentially the Marvel Dracula, but, you know, a Dracula as a superhero. But, yeah, they blew it. That was the one character. Well, they still have Werewolf by Night, I guess. I don't know. Or Man Wolf, or whatever he is. Dead Souls. Also, they need to stop bringing back Superman, because he's literally dead in that one movie. Yeah, no, they'll never stop doing that. But they do need to try to expand the DC universe. I mean, they needed a good Flash movie, and they effed that up. Which is a shame, because they had a decent Wonder Woman. People liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I didn't like the cut of the movies, quite frankly. I think that mostly goes back to Zack Snyder's inability to really tell a story, it seems to me. JC, they did Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus. Yeah, they did. They didn't really do it right, in my view. I mean, they could have. Setting it in the past, you know, I guess because Disney kept that one. But I thought, you know, if Sony had got Morbius and Werewolf by Night, maybe they could have done their own sort of weird Universal monster movie deal. Dead Souls, isn't that one Flash PED? No, well, I can't really get into it on the stream or something. He's something, let's say. He had some issues, let's say. Nuts. Hold on, I gotta go to the bathroom. One sec. All right, Joan, entertain the troops, okay? This is your big shot. This is your big shot, Joan. Don't upstage me. Okay. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for holding down the fort. All right. Ardent, quick, while he's gone, everyone post swear words in the chat. Joan want a treat? Oh, damn it. Now I got to give her a treat. Want a treat, Joan? I'll give you a treat. You were good. There you go. Treat for Joan. No, but getting back to Werewolf by Night, there was another wolf comic, wasn't there? Didn't J. Jonah Jameson's son, was an astronaut and he goes to the moon and he becomes a werewolf? Wasn't that the story? Wasn't he like Man Wolf or something? Let me look that up. Marvel Comics Man Wolf, I think he was called? Yes. John Jonah Jameson. Man Wolf. There he is. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. I don't know if Sony has the rights to him or not. Man Wolf. Since Werewolf by Night didn't go over. JC, Man Wolf. I think he was in Werewolf by Night. Oh, he was? Ardent, Man Wolf, I think. Yeah. Dead Souls, original Twister movie. Thoughts? All right. Bill Paxton, good. Helen Hunt, mid. In general, I didn't like Twister, the original movie. I saw it, and I just thought, eh. The new one, I hear okay things about it. That at least it's not woke, but I have no interest in it. It's more of a romantic comedy with tornadoes in it. Ardent, LOL. I'd like to see a Dazzler movie. I wouldn't mind that if they actually got Taylor Swift. I think that would be kind of interesting, you know, because then she could play her music and it would make sense. She would be playing a character she could actually do the role. I mean, to some extent, I think it could be fun. JC, it was a fine 90s popcorn movie. Yeah, I guess you could call it that. I mean, the scene with the cow, that was the big deal, and I don't know. It was all right, I guess. Bill Paxton I like in the movie, but he was good in everything. But I have like no interest in, you know, I don't even know how they're doing a sequel, quite frankly. It's just an IP. Dead Souls. Actually, there is no romance in the new one. The director didn't want anything romantic in it. Okay. I guess. I mean, I would have totally had them get together at the end of that movie. Ardent. Oh, God's not Taylor Swift. Dead Souls. I like the Clue movie. I guess. I mean, again, a lot of strong performers in that. I mean, Tim Curry is always a joy to watch. But, yeah. I don't know. And I think, wasn't Christopher Lloyd in that too? Ardent. That's because Tim Curry was a legend. Extra points if you get that reference. I do. Because he was in the movie Legend. That's how I knew. All right. JC. Clue is a lot of fun. Which version of Clue, though? Number 2. Dead Souls, I think so. Number 2 was Twisters, the sequel. 22 million. In its third week. Not too shabby. Not doing well overseas, but 274 million. And that would be not money yet. Oh man, it cost 200 million to make this thing. Yeah, that might not be money. According to our formula where you take the budget of the movie and double it to make profit. You know, accounting for the advertising of the movie. But that's a bit exaggerated for some movies. But Twisters, I mean, they were beating the bushes for this. So is this going to make $400 million? I don't think so. Not at this rate. Let's see. Is it going to China? It is in China. I'd expected it to do better in China, quite frankly. But, not doing well in China. That's not good. Look at that. It's not even in the top 3. It's doing better in the UK, Mexico, and Australia. Sad. Sad, sad, sad. So, yeah, without those numbers, we're talking, what is this going to do next week? I mean, we're already at 22 million next week. Maybe it does 11 million here. 5 million overseas. You know, it might, it's probably going to crack 300 million. I don't think that's money, but Trap. Dead Souls. My least favorite movie was Horizon Chapter 1. I kind of can't blame you. I really wanted to like that movie. I mean, some of it's good, I think. Some of the scenes are good and interesting. Brutal. But, yeah, it's not, overall, it's not a movie is the problem. It's really like the first portion of a miniseries. And it probably should have been marketed that way. And then maybe you would have had a better chance, but that was not a movie. Not the way it was formatted. So Trap, not doing all that great. 20 million worldwide. Oh wait, let's see the budget on this thing. Probably has a decent budget. We don't know. It's got kind of a decent budget. I don't think it's a super small budget. I wouldn't say it's less than 50 million or more than 100, but that's probably going to struggle. Despicable Me 4 at number 4, dropping from 3 to 4. Still making $11 million. No reason to take it out of theaters. And this is definitely money. This is a big hit. 752 million. Nothing to sneeze at. Steve Carell making bank. Dead Souls, thoughts on the Tarot movie? Looked fine, like for a straight up horror. I wasn't particularly excited about it. It had a good angle. You know, the tarot cards, kind of cool, I guess, but I don't know. I'm so sort of burned out on horror movies that, well, you know it's a horror movie and then they just pick a thing, you know. Oh, this time it'll be tarot cards. This time it'll be a clipboard. Haunted clipboard. I mean, they did a movie about a in-ground pool that was killing people. It's just like they pick a thing and then make it evil and then do the movie. You know, I just looked over a trailer for The Red, which is about an evil kangaroo, and it stars what's his face, Kyle Reese from the Terminator movies, and a bunch of Australians, and you know, the kangaroo murders a bunch of people, and 7-foot tall Roo. Stormy is here. Hi, Stormy. At Ardent, be home half an hour. Loves ya. Oh, that's nice. Ardent says, LOL. Love you too, darling. Dead Souls. Same here. I'm more into crime movies, like Zodiac. I love the movie Zodiac. The one with Robert Downey Jr.? Ardent. Michael Biehn? Yes. Yes. Kyle Reese is in the Red movie, which is about an evil kangaroo. I'm not making that up. He is in it, and he is one of the main characters. He is not the kangaroo, though, just so you know. You will not see it on this list. Dead Souls, yes, the one with Robert. I didn't see that one. I kind of don't like to see dramatizations of real life events anymore because I no longer trust them. Because every time I go to see one, I look up the actual events, and then I'm always disappointed that it didn't follow the actual events very closely. So I'd rather see a documentary where they actually go through the facts. That, as boring as that is, I'd rather see that. Number 5, Inside Out 2, dropping from 4 to 5, 6.7 million. So in its 8th week, that ain't too shabby for 8 weeks in. Jeez, this is a beast. This is a freaking beast. $1.5 billion. Beastly. That's better than Barbie. You're going to see a million of these. Get ready for Inside Out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm calling it now. You're going to see 5 sequels to this movie. JC, turns out movies based on real events were just attempts for commies to rewrite history. Yeah, it kind of seems that way, doesn't it? Dead Souls, I love movies where you get to guess who the killer is too. Yeah, you can't really do that with a movie like Zodiac, although I guess you can since they didn't catch him, but you know, a movie like, I don't know, Jeffrey Dahmer, you kind of know who it is, who the killer is. But although there's that one movie, it takes place when Jeffrey Dahmer's in high school, which I kind of wanted to see. That looked mildly interesting. I forget what it was called, but it was about a dude. He went to high school with Jeffrey Dahmer, and I guess he wrote the movie or a book about, what the hell was it called now? Oh God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyhow, he was friends with him in high school, I guess, and long before he became a serial killer. Um, Dead Souls. I enjoyed the movie Totally Killer and that Scream 1. Totally Killer didn't look too bad. It looked a bit um, contrived because the girl goes back in time to the 80s, but it actually looked kind of fun. Scream 1, that's like a Scream movie. Nah, no. No, pass. Hard pass on Scream movies. Ardent, best movie based on real events, in my opinion, Weird Al, the Al Yankovic story. That looked kind of cool. JC, My Friend Dahmer. It was based on an autobio comic. Yeah, that's it. That looked kind of interesting. Just because you wouldn't be seeing Jeffrey murdering people. You'd be seeing like how he, you definitely wouldn't see any of that. You'd just be seeing like, oh my God, all the signs were there, kind of thing. So that to me was kind of interesting. Number 6, Harold and the Purple Crayon. $6 million, really? Kind of shocked this movie did that well, because it looks, I don't know, kind of boring as F. But I guess for a children's book, maybe. Again, they want to bring kids to something. I guess Harold and the Purple Crayon is one thing to bring them to. Ardent, it's hilariously fictionalized, and Radcliffe is so fun in it. I might have to check it out. Feels like a streaming movie. Long Legs dropping from 5 to 7. I kind of wanted to see this. I almost did. 4.1 million. But I think one of you talked me out of it. So I might catch it on streaming. 78 million worldwide. This might make money. Yeah, it's not saying a budget here. I can't imagine this thing costs $78 million to make. It doesn't look expensive. I mean, it's possible they gave Nicolas Cage $75 million, but I doubt it. He's got tax problems, last I heard. Did you hear that Nicolas Cage gave back a stolen dinosaur skull? That was a headline this week. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Oh, that's the wrong one. I didn't mean to hit that. All right. Nuts. Hold on. Hold on. I messed this up. All right, that. Not that. All right, that. Okay. This is what I wanted to hit. Nicolas Cage and skull. Yeah, here it is. Nicolas Cage returns stolen Mongolian dinosaur skull he bought at a gallery. The Tyrannosaurus Batar skull will be repatriated after it was bought by the actor from a Beverly Hills gallery in 2007. This just sounds like a Nicolas Cage movie. And somebody tweeted on Twitter something like, yeah, real life and Nicolas Cage's real life and his movies have now blurred together. I think I'm going to get me a dinosaur skull. Dead Souls, what the heck? Yeah, he spent a lot of his money on frivolous, crazy things. But I respect that, because that's what I would do if I had Nicolas Cage's money. Oh man, would I buy dinosaur skulls? You couldn't stop me. Dead Souls, that is so random. Not really. He bought a lot of crazy stuff. He also bought a lot of comics. He's a big comic fan. I think he had a Superman. I believe he bought Action Comics #1 at one point, or bought one of them. And right around the time he was in negotiations to be Superman. Who could he be in the DC universe, I wonder? Maybe Dr. Fate. You know, because that doesn't matter. I know they got Pierce Bronson for it, but I mean, that was an okay choice. He'd be okay in that, too, or he seemed okay in it. Um, Maybe the Spectre, Nicolas Cage. I could see him being the Spectre, although this, not a great character. Dead Souls. I have a 1990 something Spider-Man comic. Well, hold on to it for another 20 years, and I think you really have something. Um, I don't know. Depends on the one. 1990s. That was the height, kind of the height of comics. Unfortunately, there's a lot of them lying around somewhere. Number 8 is The Firing Squad. I don't know this movie. 1.6 million. Huh. Who the hell's in this? Is that Kevin Sorbo? It is. Cuba Gooding Jr., who, by the way, is reinventing himself as like, I think, kind of an uber Christian actor. So I think he's had a come to Jesus moment, literally. So he's going to be in the mix. I'm telling you, that's going to be the new Hollywood. It's going to be celebrities going to church, talking about Jesus, saying a whole bunch of Jesus things, and being super based. Dead Souls, the comic is from 1977, and it's called What If Someone Else Became the Amazing Spider-Man? Oh, 1977. That's probably worth some money. Dead Souls, it was actually a pretty good read. Oh, yeah, the what ifs from that era. I used to read them. They're awesome. What If Conan Came to the 20th Century is hands down the best what if you'll ever read. It's freaking zany as F. But this Firing Squad movie, I don't even know what this is. Let's see what the write-up is. Firing Squad. Based on the true story of 3 Christian prisoners who face execution in a third world country and how their joy in Christ results in a stunning conclusion. Okay. So it sounds very religious. Timothy A. Che wrote and directed it. So, is this supposed to be sort of like Jesus? Because wasn't there like, it was Jesus and then 2 other guys on the cross? That was part of the deal. I don't know. I'm not religious. Don't quote me on my Bible quotes. Dead Souls, I've never heard of this movie. Ardent, Cage. Cage would be a good choice for the Ray Palmer Adam. Dr. Savannah, the Spectre, sure. The Creeper, better fit than the Spectre, I think. Maybe Ivo or the guy behind Metal Man, maybe Metamorpho. Who the hell did they cast? Didn't they cast Metamorpho? And I thought they picked a good guy. Oh, I can't remember. They announced him. They never made the movie. But yeah, Ray Palmer would be... Yeah, he'd be okay. Is that Dr. Savannah? I don't remember him. But the Spectre, the Creeper... maybe. Although the Creeper... Maybe William Dafoe as the Creeper. Since we were denied a William Dafoe Joker, which would have been freaking amazing. A William Dafoe Joker would have been hands down the best Joker. He would have been an absolute lunatic. Dead Souls, who's your favorite actor? Right now, it's Tom Hardy. I like him in a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of hard to pick overall. And like I like Nicolas Cage, but you know, he's more of a movie star than an actor, if you know what I mean. JC, Cage is too old for superhero movie. Actually, I could see him as the Spectre now that you mention it. Yeah, because like the Spectre's a little older and a little more. Well, he's dead, but you know, maybe Dead Man. He could probably do Dead Man. Ardent, William Dafoe as Creeper. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's just a creepy guy in general. Although, you know, William Dafoe sort of entered the stage in his career where he's in everything now. Like, what's the name? Jackson. Ardent, who's your pick for Hal Jordan? I'm still hardcore for Nathan Fillion. He'd be good. Who else? I mean, Ryan Reynolds wasn't the worst choice in the world. I think he just got a bad script. Dead Souls. Have you seen the movie Urban Legend? I have not. Um, Hal Jordan really needs to be an older actor. Very sort of. Hmm. Like Tom Cruise would be a good choice for Hal Jordan. Now he's a little too old for it, but maybe 10 years ago, Tom Cruise would be almost perfect for Hal Jordan. Plus, he's a pilot in another movie. So, and I know Tom Cruise he would bring everything to it, as he always does. So, my theory is that the reason they haven't cast Tom Cruise as a superhero is the moment they do, he'll take over everything. Like, it'll just be the Tom Cruise world. When he was young, he would have been a good Superman, because then it could have been like, because the DC universe is really Superman and everybody else, and Batman, Superman, Batman, and everybody else. That's the DC universe. But if you had cast like Tom Cruise as Superman or Batman, that would have been amazing. I bet Cruise could do Batman The Dark Knight, although he's a little short, but still. If you can make your own movie, who would you cast? Well, let me get back to that. Ardent, Cruise never really had the gravity for Jordan. Clooney, maybe? Clooney is... I don't really see it. I don't think Clooney's a good anything. I think Clooney would be better like as the mayor of Gotham, like those kinds of roles. JC, Tom Cruise is too short to be Superman. Yeah, he is. Ardent, LOL, Tom Cruise played the Flash. Dude loves to run on screen. That could be funny. Dead Souls, isn't there a George Clooney reference in the Annie remake? I don't know. JC, Clooney doesn't have the right look for Hal. Yeah, he's a little too, I don't know, he's like too tan for Hal. Hal to me has always been like kind of a white, very white guy. Like English white guy kind of look. Like, I don't know, like if he was American, maybe like a Cole Meany in terms of the look, I'm saying. He'd need to be an older actor who had a very sort of wholesome look to him. Yeah, I mean, Josh Hartnett wouldn't be bad. Wouldn't be a bad choice, actually, for Hal Jordan. He's got the right look. He doesn't quite have the gravitas, though, I would say. Not yet. He's a little too young, or young looking. But, getting back, if I could make my own movie, who would you cast? Well, it depends on what movie I would be making. I usually always end up casting myself in my own head and my own stuff. JC, Tom Cruise would have been a good Hal, do it as a Top Gun, as a superhero. Yeah, that's the way I think. Dead Souls, I'm not ready to wake up at 6 in the morning yet. Ardent, Colm Fiore would make a great Phantom Stranger. Check him out if you don't know the name. Dead Souls, I'll wait for your response on my question. Sorry. So if I was casting like the Pineys, ideally I would play Hemingway. One of my friends who's an actor would play Lewis. I would want somebody in the role of Milton who was an action guy. But if I had to pick like a movie star, I'd want somebody like Chris Pratt as Milton. And I think he could probably do enough martial arts to make it work. But he'd probably never accept the role because he's more of a starring guy. Ardent. Tony DiGerolamo would be a great pick for Uncle Sam movie. Thank you. Uncle Sam wants you. God bless America. Shelley would be You know, you'd have to get some hot younger chick for Shelley. Uh, Sydney Sweeney comes to mind, but she's almost too hot for the role. Um, yeah, it's tough to cast young because you know, a Pineys movie isn't happening for a while, so anybody I would pick now would probably be too old by the time the movie happened. Dead Souls, isn't there an Uncle Sam horror movie or something? Is there? Maybe. Sounds like something they'd screw around with and make a horror movie out of. I'd have to lose some weight if I was going to play Uncle Sam from DC Comics in a movie, because he's like super skinny, that dude. But yeah, I would have a lot of old timey guys in the Pineys. I would like to cast them. Alex is here. Sydney Sweeney, I joined the stream just at the right time. Yes, you did, Alex. Welcome. You know, like for the Pineys, I wanted to cast Bruce Willis in a role, but unfortunately, he's done. Which, because he's a Jersey guy too. He's from Penns Grove, New Jersey, down south. In fact, he'd be perfect for anything in the Pineys, really. But it's very sad. Dead Souls, they need an Easter horror movie about a killer rabbit. They've had horror movies about rabbits. Look up Day of the Lipids? Something like that? Ardent at Dead Souls. Don't know. I'm thinking Earth X Freedom Fighters. We'll have to cast Sydney Sweeney as Phantom Woman. Yeah, but you know, the kind of people I would cast, you know, it depends on the money and the time or whatever. But you know, I'm an older person, so I tend to pick actors that I know, which would tend to be skew a little older. I would love to put Bruce Campbell in the Pineys in some role, just because I love Bruce Campbell and he'd be fun in it. If it's Day of the Triffids, no, it's not Triffids. It begins with an L. I forget what it is. It's the word for rabbits. It's like it's like the phylum that rabbits are in. Can't think of what it's called now. Dead Souls, did you hear that the lady from The Shining passed away? Yes, Shelley Duvall. Yes, she was very good. And it's funny because you don't see Shelley Duvall in the news for years, and then suddenly she showed up in a movie about, I don't know, 2 years ago, and I barely recognized her because she's older, you know. Not that I didn't expect her to be old, but I hadn't seen her in so long, and then you see her and you go, oh my god, she's old, she's so old. Ardent Lupins, that's it. It's like Night of the Lupins, I think. Storebang is here. Leo the bartender, Bruce Campbell. That could work. Although Lee the bartender is tends to skew a little young. He's supposed to be a hipster, but that would be a good role for him because he'd be in it, but he wouldn't have to be there all the time. I'd probably cast him as maybe Wallace or Hugo, one of those roles. Maybe Virgil. I don't know. I got a lot of different people in mind for the Pineys. But Lee, that's an interesting choice. I could make Lee a little older for the movie or TV show or whatever. What am I doing here? Okay, so number 9, A Quiet Place, day 1. Oh, this movie's finally wrapping up. 1.4 million. It's in its 6th week. Yeah, we're just about done here. But it made money, it looks like. I don't know what it cost, but yeah, it's maybe money. Dead Souls. Unpopular opinion, Rob Zombie's Halloween wasn't good. No, that is not an unpopular opinion. That is only unpopular with Rob Zombie fans who continue to say that Rob Zombie is a good director. I do not believe he is. I think he's a terrible director. He is a good art director. He has an eye for good visuals but not a great story guy at all. House of a Thousand Corpses is just about one of the most unwatchable things I've ever seen. It's almost unwatchable, in my view. Alex, Night of the Lepus. That's it. Just looked it up. That's it. Night of the Lepus. It's a horror movie with rabbits. Dead Souls. I'll have to check that out. Warning, it's not very good. Number 7. No, this is number 10. Dropping from 7. Bad Boys Ride or Die. This movie's finally done in its 9th week. $600,000. And it's only in 437 theaters. So that did pretty good. They're making a sequel to this already. Or they're talking about it. Dead Souls. I hate how he cast his wife in everything he makes. Yeah, she's not a great actress. She's kind of hot, or was. I'm not sure if she's still hot. Yet there's a great story from William Goldman, who's the patron saint of screenwriters, and he puts it in Adventures in the Screenwriting Trade. And William Goldman wrote the book Stepford Wives. It was a book before it was a movie, The Stepford Wives. The premise of The Stepford Wives is a bunch of guys in a small town in New England basically killed their wives and replaced them with androids. Hot androids. So the premise of the movie is this couple move into the town and they see that all these old guys are banging these super hot wives. And they're super young and super hot, and they're all perfectly traditional and stay-at-home moms and all that kind of stuff. Dead Souls, I do agree that she's hot, but like that doesn't make her a good actor. Yes, agreed. So it turns out they're banging these androids, and then the plot is they're gonna replace this dude's wife with a Stepford wife. That's where the term Stepford wife comes into, and and they're exposing them and trying to get out of the town and whatnot. And so it's sort of like a horror movie. So in order to cast the lead Stepford wife, you would need someone who is super hot, right? Like a 10 out of 10. Sydney Sweeney comes to mind. Some woman who was so hot when she was paired up with an older dude, you would look at them and clearly go, there's no way this guy got this chick unless he's super rich. Like, that's the kind of matchup you needed for the story in the movie. William Goldman tells the story of riding in a car with the director of the Stepford Wives, and he pitched an actress to him. An actress who was nice looking, but she wasn't gorgeous. She was a little older, but she wasn't gorgeous. And William Goldman had to say yes. Why did he say yes? Because the director pitched his wife. And to say no to the director's wife would be like saying, no, your wife's too ugly to play a Stepford wife. And that's Hollywood, essentially. Alex, we need to go back to historical epics. I'd love to see a huge movie, even split into parts like Dune, on the Battle of Leyte Gulf. Maybe. Sorry, blowing up on the phone. Alright, I'll have to get back to that. Dead Souls. I saw this guy say, if the movie sucks, the director sucks. And I'm literally like, this dude realize it not the director's fault. It literally is the script writer's fault and the editor's fault, or doesn't realize. Well, mostly it's on the director. Because if the director gets a bad script, he does have the power to hand it over to another screenwriter and say, here, fix this. Or rewrite it himself, which a lot of them do. It depends on the deal they have. So a lot of it's on the director. It really is. If the director has a bad script, look, when they set out to do a movie, one of the first things they're going to do is look at a script or have one written and then go on and on about it because they can't start the process until there's a script because they have to budget it and everything. So, yeah, a lot of it's on the director. Alex, we need to cast Donna D'Errico in some of our fantasy movies too. Absolutely. JC, the director can rewrite the script. Absolutely. Absolutely. He usually has a guy. Almost every director has a guy. I mean, at least at the level of making real movies. They're going to have at least one guy who's their scriptwriter. And that's all he does. He just calls him up and says, hey, Frank, I just got hired to do this movie. Look over the script and tell me what you think. And guess what? That screenwriter's going to look at the script and go, oh, there's lots of problems, boss. Don't worry, I'll fix them because that's what you pay me for. And then he's going to change everything. And that's why everything changes in a movie. So it doesn't matter if the script's good or not. The screenwriter's going to want to earn money. So he's going to say, oh, yeah, I got to fix this thing. It's a mess. And he's going to change a bunch of stuff just to change it. Now, sometimes he's telling the truth. He looks at the script and goes, oh, my God, this is a mess. Sometimes he looks at the script and says that anyway, even though it's awesome. Sometimes it's the director's fault because the director will say, you know, I really want to do this movie about bridge over the River Kwai, but I kind of don't like the bridge part. Can we take that out? And the screenwriter, because again, he wants a huge payday, goes, oh, yeah, sure, I'll take out that bridge. No more bridge on bridge over the River Kwai. Yeah, no problem. Can we call it something else? Yeah, sure. We'll call it Isthmus over the River Kwai. Yeah, an isthmus. You know what that is, right? No, what's that? Oh, it's a land bridge. But you don't call it a bridge. You call it an isthmus. It's got more cachet to it. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I knew you would. And that's why everything sucks. JC, then you just got a movie about a British POW. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's about making the money. Everybody wants to make their money in this business because they have no money. Everybody's broke, and everybody who's not broke is greedy, and everybody who's not greedy and broke is trying to get a break. Alex, Charlie Brooker had a superb analysis of writing for TV and the idea of being horribly corrupted by those who hold the purse strings. It was part of his Screen Wipe series on BBC about 2 decades ago. Oh, interesting. Might have to see that. Send me a link. Dead Souls, well, I'm going to head out. I'm going to head to bed because I have to wake up a bit early. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you, Dead Souls. Thanks for tuning in. Alex says, take care. Yeah, so, sorry, I just farted and I really literally stunk up the whole room. Let me turn on the fan here. God, I'm suffocating my old funk here. Whew. That's better. Yeah, I mean, it's all on the director. It really is. Ardent says later. Screenwriters have almost zero power. You know, the first gig I ever did, I wrote probably a dozen drafts of the damn screenplay. I mean, it was ridiculous, the amount of drafts. And I rewrote scenes. There wasn't any problem with the scene. It was just that they either couldn't shoot it, they didn't want to do it, like the actor didn't want to do it for whatever reason. You know, they ran out of money. I mean, there's so many stupid reasons why scenes get cut or changed. You just can't imagine. On another movie, they literally just didn't shoot some of the scenes. They just didn't shoot them. They just didn't do it. The director just didn't follow the script. He just shot a bunch of scenes. Some of them were in the script. And a bunch of them, a handful weren't. And he wasted a bunch of time and money. And then they had to get a second unit to go in and reshoot a bunch of stuff just to make the movie to make sense. So, unfortunately, this is the reality of movies. If you don't have competent people, they ruin it. You can have a great script and they just ruin it. You have people who just, they'll relentlessly pitch scenes, even though the script is written. There's no money to do extra scenes. There's no money to change things. It's too late to change things. That won't stop these people. Sometimes it's the actor. Sometimes it's one of the producers. Sometimes it's the director. It's everybody. Literally everybody will sabotage the movie. The people who don't sabotage the movie are people who look at the script, read it, and then say, oh, I like this script, and then they actually follow it. Unfortunately, there tends to be fewer of those people on a movie set than actually are shooting it. But the three components are the producer, the director, and the screenwriter before things start. And if they set the right tone, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says, right? And mostly it's on the director, because once the producer sets things in motion, he's in charge. The screenwriter usually has zero power, although the director may empower him to some degree to come onto the set to rewrite scenes on the fly. Depends on the movie. Like if you have a funny movie where people are going to improv, you might need the screenwriter there to go, okay, we just shot this hilarious scene, but this dialogue doesn't quite jibe with what's going to happen later. Can you write something that'll bridge us over and make it make sense? Sam Rogers is here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sam. Dee Dee from Focus Features. This looks like, I'm going to guess, an anime movie. Yes, some kind of cartoon. Made $728,000. From Focus Features. Oh, I'm trying not to sneeze. Ardent says hello. The Fabulous Four. This looks god-awful in its second week, dropping by 60%. Featuring Bette Midler, your favorite liberal Hollywood celebrity, and Susan Sarandon, your favorite leftoid liberal Hollywood celebrity. Like, as left as Bette Midler is, Susan Sarandon is far to the left of that. Although she tends to be a little smarter, but recently she got herself in trouble with the whole Hamas Gaza thing. Big fan of the Palestinians. Ardent. Prevent sneezing by looking into a light and saying horse. Never heard of that one. I'll try it sometime. Number, looks like 13, Fly Me to the Moon. Yeah, this movie looked like it was going to do poorly, and it did. $37 million. For $100,000 or $100 million budget. Oof. Oofa. JC, she was good in Clue, though. Yes, she was. She was good in Rocky Horror Picture Show, also starring Tim Curry. The Tim Curry movie. Cat Video Fest 2024. I mean, it's just bizarre that this is even a thing. But it probably cost them nothing to make. $281,000. That's probably mostly profit. Sing Sing from A24. It's made $500,000 in 4 weeks. I don't think that's going anywhere. Maxine, this didn't do too well. I thought it would do a little better than this. $19 million. Oof. That's probably not money. Probably not money. Probably the wrong time for the movie, too. This dropped like 5 weeks ago in the middle of the summer. Yeah, I think it was closer to like a fall movie. Felt more like a Halloween movie. The Widow Click Quat. That is a bad title. That is a bad title. Made $1 million. Sounds like a lot of money when you say it, but it's not in terms of movies. JC, cat video thing sounds like 2010 internet joke thing, and they just keep it going out of habit, so they're not losing any money yet. Well, I figure they must just have a ton of clips, right? That's what I got to figure it is. It's all just clips from the internet. They, you know, like who would pay for that in this day and age? Like, oh, I don't know, YouTube's a thing. I guess I'll go to this cat video thing. I literally watched cat videos today. That's why I was a little late starting the stream. I got caught up in cat videos, and oh shit, it's 7. Jesus, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is still in theaters after 13 weeks. God, that is quite a stretch these days. That's money. We already know that. The Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot from Angel Studios, did 11 million. So 8.5 million to make. I mean, that's probably money for Angel Studios. They probably don't spend a $10 million advertising one of their films. A couple of new movies. Dark Feathers, Dance of the Geisha. That sounds anime. It's in 8 theaters. Sam Rogers, am I a dog or a cat person? Well, I have a dog, and she looks about the size of a cat and acts like a cat because she's very finicky. But I used to have a cat, actually. When I was a kid, I had a cat. But now I'm more of a dog person. I love the little Joan. She's so loyal and nice. Cats are a little standoffish. I don't know what this Dark Feathers thing is. Let's look it up on the IMDb if it's here. Yeah, here it is. Kate must choose loyalty to a historical Asian clan or her non-traditional love amidst the deaths of her dance partner being investigated by her new lovers. I don't know what this is. Does this take place in the present? Maybe. Arden, turns out Joan is a cat in a dog suit. Yeah, that would be not a shock to me if I found that out. Today, I should say, this morning, I was up till 3 a.m. last night, which my clock got regulated more normal, so I hadn't been staying up late. But then I was out super late at this party, and I ended up coming home and doing work for about an hour, so I got to bed at about 3. And then Joan, I took her out for a walk prior to that, but she was not having it. And then in the middle of the night, Joan gets up. She's like, let me down off the bed. And I thought, okay, she has to go to the bathroom. She runs to her dog bowl and drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks. She's very thirsty. It's very dry in the house because of the air conditioning. So then she wants to go. She's done. She just wanted a drink, and that was it. I'm like, okay, I can understand that. Middle of the night, you get super thirsty. So I put her back on the bed and went back to sleep. About 3 hours later, she woke me up again, put her down, did the same damn thing. Drink and drink and drink and drink and drink. I'm like, Joan, you can't get up in the middle of the night just to get a drink. It's like, stay asleep. So I'm a little laggy because of that. Arnett, LOL, or 6 gerbils standing on each other's shoulders. War Game just opened up in 1 theater. Don't know what this is. Looks like a documentary. Yeah, that's got to be a documentary with that logo. Sebastian. No idea. Is that, what's her face? Or his face? Let's see. Max, a 25-year-old aspiring writer living in London, begins a double life as a sex worker in order to research a debut novel. No, I thought it was Elliot Page for a second there. Director Miko Makala and writer Miko Makala. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be good. I don't want to see a movie about a sex worker. That sounds depressing. I mean, he's not really a sex worker. He's just researching it for a book. Seems like a tough way to do research. Doesn't seem like you're really interested in the research if you're doing that, right? Oh, what did you do for your new book? Oh, I went undercover as a sex worker. You you actually became a sex worker for your new book. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was doing a bunch of dudes for the book. Doesn't sound like you're doing that for the book. It sounds like you're probably doing that for you. No, no, no. It was all for the book. I didn't enjoy it at all. And Janet Planet, 169 million. So the summer is here. Money is available, although most of it's going to Deadpool and Wolverine and the top 5 or 6 movies. Yeah, I got 1, 2, say 3, 7, 13, 19, 20, 31, 46. Yep. Yeah, it's all going to the top 9 movies that made over $1 million. It's like 169 million, and like 4 million of that is other movies. Like all of it's the top 9 movies, and the rest are like, the other 20. Oh man, it is dry in here though. So yeah, that's the box office. So I guess the rule of thumb is, make more Marvel movies that don't suck, and people will go to the movies again. Let's check out what's going on in Variety. I've been sort of tuned out. I haven't done Hollywoke Hot Take in a couple of days. So, of course, here's Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know if you saw this. There was a pole vaulter, and his schlong cost him an Olympic gold because he was doing the pole vaulting, and when you do the pole vaulting, you come very close, so to speak, to to the pole. Like, you're not supposed to touch the pole as you go over, but he had such a chub going that his ween hit the pole. So imagine you're a pole vaulter, but you're too well hung to get the gold. I mean, there are worse things that happen to you in life, I guess. Don the Second is here. Make more Marvel movies that don't suck. Tony24. Thank you. Yes, you can quote me on that. Make more Marvel movies that don't suck. Ardent. That's the best worst way to lose. Yes. Don the Second. Pun not intended. Pole vaulter's pole got in the way. Ha! Vince Vaughn says R-rated comedies aren't made anymore because the people in charge don't want to get fired. They overthink it. Yep, 100%. Look, I don't listen. I listen to my audience, but I don't obey my audience. Because ultimately, my audience doesn't know what they want. They might have ideas. They might think they know what they want. But they can't. If they knew what they wanted in terms of media and movies and stuff, they'd make them. So, or books or whatever. So you can't obey them. You can listen to their concerns. I mean, in the case of Marvel fans, sure, you want to listen to their concerns. There's too much gay. JC, in China, they castrate their Olympic athletes. So this doesn't happy? This doesn't happy me either, JC. I think you meant this doesn't happen. Is that true? That's not true. Ardent, R-rated comedies aren't being made for the same reason Jerry Seinfeld won't play colleges. That's true too, but they perceive that they won't make money. They will make money, by the way. They'll still make money today. The problem will be is that they'll get a lot of complaints. And the people making the complaints are not the people who would go see the damn movie. JC happened. No, I was just teasing. So there was a bunch of people complaining about Deadpool and Wolverine, calling it anti-gay because they don't have sex in the movie. So if you can imagine being so screwed up that you say something like that about a stupid movie like Deadpool and Wolverine, that you're mad because the characters aren't having sex with each other. How warped do you have to be? You have to be so far down the fanfic rabbit hole. You need therapy. You need therapy if you're thinking that. If you think that way, get help. Get lots of help. You fanfic idiot. You have no sense of humor. You're thinking constantly about sex in a way that's not healthy. Ardent, exactly. Studios need to stop pandering to their non-target audience. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You can, in general, listen to your audience. Don the Second, there's no way. In general, you listen to audiences and you create a sort of blanket strategy, which they used to do. The audience was 18 to 35-year-old males. And the strategy was simple. 18 to 35-year-old males go out on dates. They plan the dates for their girls. We're going to this movie. The girls want to be taken somewhere, in this case a movie, to see something, and they go along. They don't pick the movie, they are invited to the movie, which is what they want. So it doesn't matter necessarily what the girl wants to see, as long as the guy can show it to her and not, make himself look bad in the process somehow. Obviously, there's limits to that. I mean, you take a girl to a movie that makes her uncomfortable, you're not going to score any points. You want to take her to a movie where you both can have fun. But she doesn't want to pick the movie. She wants to be taken out. Women like to be taken out. Now, are there some women who would like a say or once in a while want to pick something? Sure, once in a while. But this is why women don't want to pick where to eat. They want to be told and then complain about it later, possibly. But they want to go. Oh, you're taking me to this restaurant? Yeah, this is a special place. I only take my special girls to. Oh, that's what they like. And I don't blame them. That's the way it works. So it's the same thing for a movie. Hey, let's go see Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm a movie guy, so I'm picking movies for my girl. And that's like a big pick for me, because I'm a movie guy and I got to deliver. I got to deliver a good movie. So I can't screw around. I got to pick a good movie. So I'm thinking. I was over at my girlfriend's and she's like, "Oh, pick a movie from Netflix for us to watch." And I'm like, "Oh boy." And I'm scrolling. And I'm like, not this one, not this one. Oh, that one sucks. I hate this. Oh, that's woke. Whew. It's tough. It's tough. Alex Ogle. Took me some time to find Screen Wipe SO2E04. Oh, this is the, okay. This is the thing you referenced earlier. Okay, Alex has posted that link. So if you're interested in seeing this, this is the guy who talks about screenwriting and how the talent gets sucked in to the people who who hold the purse strings, essentially, and how they compromise their own artistic choices in order to get more money. And look, that's always going to happen to some extent, but you don't want to completely bastardize your art, because ultimately that sort of art is worthless. And if you're not well connected, then you're bastardizing yourself for nothing. I've done it. Everybody I know who's been a writer or whatever, tried to get into movies or whatever, you bastardize your own stuff to just try to get in. And then it never works, and then you go, oh yeah, let's never do that again. I'm trying to think when I did it and what exactly I did, but it was probably 30 years ago when I tried that horrible strategy. But I mean, you can, like movie studios shouldn't obey their audiences. They can kind of generally listen to them. If you're an artist, you can generally listen to the studios. So for instance, they want certain things. Alex Ogle, Charlie Brooker got his name with the Screen Wipe series, deconstructing TV before getting to do what he wanted with Black Mirror. I'd say Screen Wipe was much better, but it could only last so long. So when you generally pitch to a movie studio, they may ask you for screenplays or stories that target certain actors and actresses, that have certain stories. So like when Vince Vaughn says R-rated comedies aren't made anymore because people in charge don't want them, it's a dumb thing to pitch an R-rated comedy right now, unless you're going to be the guy who breaks through. And you could say, I'm going to be the guy who breaks through and keep pitching them, but it just means you're in an uphill battle. Don the Second, smart way to look at it. So you want to pitch stuff that the studio generally wants, generally speaking. Now, they're still making R-rated comedies. I just don't think they're marketing them that way. Like, I keep seeing trailers, and they seem like the Cleanup Crew I looked at the other day. That's basically an R-rated action comedy about a group of, Stormy says, 15 minutes. Bunch of criminals who clean up crime scenes, and then they find some money, and then Antonio Banderas and his goons are trying to kill him. It's basically an action comedy, but they're not marketing that way. They're marketing more the action than the comedy. But it's clear to me it looks like a kind of like there's a lot of funny one-liners in it. But that can work to the movie's advantage too. You can see it not expecting a comedy, and that'll make you laugh more at it, because comedy is about surprise. If you don't think the movie's going to be funny and then it turns out to be a hilarious send-up of action movies, you might laugh through the whole damn thing. Ardent, calling BS this time. Oh, because Stormy's 15 minutes. Speaking of comedy, Joe Rogan had a Netflix special, if you didn't say it. It was called Burn the Boats. And it was all about the stuff he talks about on his podcast. I might have to catch that. I do have Netflix still. Wesley Snipes breaks the Guinness Book of World Records, or two of them, after Blade return in Deadpool and Wolverine. Sorry, spoilers. I can't keep that one to myself anymore. So he's technically been in the MCU the longest, beyond Hugh Jackman. And I think Wesley should be brought back to do Blade at least one more time. Aerosmith is retiring. Hooray. I think they should have retired probably 10, 15 years ago, quite frankly. Variety is talking about the Trump debate with Harris, and says that Trump pulled out of the debate with Harris at ABC and makes a pitch for Fox News. This is a back and forth both candidates are doing. I think he ought to just do the ABC debate and insist that she do the Fox debate too, but we'll see what happens. The big news this week, and this was big news for me, the Francis Ford Coppola, they tried to Me Too him. This was about 2 weeks ago. They said he was kissing extras in Megalopolis on the set in front of people and talking a big game. The extra he supposedly kissed came out and said that wasn't true. He didn't act in any way inappropriate. So I was glad to hear that. Alex, the studios will increasingly go after ratings for movies, a means to cover bad writing with shock. Ardent, I'd rather they do a Twitter debate with Rogan moderating. Alex, R ratings. Oh, go, okay. The studios will increasingly go R ratings for movies as a means to cover for bad writing with shock. Maybe. I mean, to some extent. Now that, see, once a movie breaks through and makes a lot of money, like Deadpool and Wolverine, then everybody tries to copy that, right? So what you'll probably see is everybody over at DC and Warner Brothers say, "Oh, we got to have our own version of Deadpool." Right? So they're going to start digging through the IPs, and they'll come across a character called Hitman. Hitman was a character in DC Comics. He had superpowers, and then he killed people. He was like a gangster. I forget who wrote it. I want to say Garth Ennis wrote it. Was it Garth Ennis? Or was it the guy I always get confused with, Garth Ennis? Anyhow, that could be one they could bring in as a Deadpool sort of guy. He also was a lot like the character, the Butcher from The Boys. Ardent. Yeah, the problem with that is that the last time Deadpool broke through, we ended up with really terrible JLA movies, or Justice League movies. Well, my contention still is Zack Snyder should not be in charge of the story. He is a director who can create great visuals, but he's terrible on a story. So a studio producer has to sit on him and say, "Zack, you have to follow the script." He almost followed the Watchmen movie perfectly. He was so close to getting it exactly right, and then a couple of changes kind of ruined it for me. But Alex Ogle, R-rated comedies don't age well and can become hated with time. Indie Phantom is here. Howdy, y'all. Ardent says hi. R-rated movies, comedies don't age well and can become hated with time. Well, I don't know. I still love Animal House. I still love Dirty Work with Norm Macdonald. I still love Caddyshack. I mean, I think it's like everything else. If it's good, it lasts. If it's not good, it kind of just dies. So, like, Caddyshack endures. The Caddyshack sequels, no. Ghostbusters, the original endures. The sequels, not really. Indie Phantom, we need more R-rated everything instead of us. I think they improve with age. Ardent, was Blazing Saddles R-rated? It absolutely was. The sheriff is near. Yeah, you got Blazing Saddles. You got, but like the Caddyshack sequels were awful. But I think they were rated R too. But they were just terrible. But like anything else, you just got to make good movies. Sorry. Ardent, I think the Lethal Weapon series might be one of the few series that got better in sequels. I really like the first two. The one with Jet Li is like, The third one isn't without its charm. I don't know. I'm kind of biased because I really like Shane Black. And I'm trying to remember until 4 anyway. Which one was 4? Was that Jet Li? I don't remember. It's been so long. But, I don't know. Any franchise is going to degrade over time, I think. Although, I think Predator 2 is superior to Predator 1, but that's just me. They're kind of two different movies, really. Molly Kearney on Leaving Saturday Night Live. It was such a dream come true. The first non-binary cast member, everyone, on SNL, because that's important. Ardent, Jet Li was 4. Oh. I'll tell you which was the unwatchable was the parody of Lethal Weapon called Loaded Weapon 2 from National Lampoon. Brutally bad movie. I only walked out of 2 movies my entire life. One was Second Sight with John Larroquette and Bronson Pinchot. Unwatchable. And the other one was Loaded Weapon 2. And I walked out of Loaded Weapon 2 within 5 minutes. It was that bad. Samuel L. Jackson and Emilio Estevez were in the leads. Brutally bad. Indie Phantom. Lethal Weapon 1 is the only one I have seen multiple times. Ardent, I agree. I prefer Predator 2. Oh, God. Loaded Weapon sucked harder than the asthmatic black hole. Indie Phantom. Loaded Weapon 1 with Estevez and Sam Jackson. Was it 1 or 2? I think it started at 2, didn't it? Or did it start at 1? Let's see. Let's go into the IMDb. I thought that was the joke. It started with Loaded Weapon. Let's see, Loaded Weapon. Oh, there was a 1. Oh, I guess it was 1. I thought it was 2 for some reason. Yeah, this movie. God, I hate this movie. Alex Ogle. Predator 2 was Balderdash? How dare you, sir. Don the Second. Walking out of a movie is crazy. I defy you to watch this movie, Don the Second. This is a terrible, terrible movie. It's unwatchable. And Bronson Pinchot, and I'll show you the other one. So this is Loaded Weapon, okay? And this is the other movie you should never ever watch. Yeah, here it is. 1989. Second Sight. Alex at Ardent. Inspired mixing of breathing conditions with cosmological phenomenon. Don the Second. Some movies in surprised even exist. This movie is this is another movie. It's unwatchable. Brutally bad. Terrible effects. Everything about this movie is terrible. Indie Phantom. One movie I know that started with 2 was Surf 2. They used it as a gimmick. Bad comedy. Don the Second. It does look like some B-movie stuff. LOL. Yeah, if you ever want to have an endurance session of watching bad movies, Second Sight and Loaded Weapon, Godspeed to you. You will not have a good time. It will not be a fun time for you. What else are we doing here? Ardent at Alex Ogle. One has to expand for a truly fitting analogy at times. Don the Second. I think that's the advantage of being a younger guy. I have the internet to get suggestions on stuff. Yeah, I didn't have that back in the 80s. You kids today. Indie Phantom. The poster for Second Sight says it all. It really does. It was a very common way that... Oh, I hit the wrong thing again. It was a very common way they did stuff. This was like... First off, it was painted. It was a painted poster. And they loved doing this like electric effect, which they did a lot in Ghostbusters, you'll remember. And that was supposed to be a big effect in it. And John Larroquette, this was John Larroquette at the height of his TV powers when he was on Night Court. And Bronson Pinchot, who you probably don't even remember, he was on a TV show called like, oh, I forget the name. It's like Total Strangers or something. And they're both TV stars starring in a movie. It was supposed to be a comedy. It was supposed to be kind of like Ghostbusters. It's so bad. Indie Phantom. I tend to like movies like the bad spoof ones, but haven't seen Loaded Weapon. It's bad. And it's National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon. You think it would be somewhat watchable. All right, going over to Fandom Pulse. Oh my God, now we're doing more of this Mr. Beast nightmare. Former Mr. Beast employee gets second cease and desist order and gets threatened with private investigators after claiming YouTube's sensation is a fraud. This, if you haven't followed this mess, the transgender guy, dude, girl got caught some, I'll say, spicy discords, and now like Mr. Beast is trying to do damage control because this guy was like all over his channel, and it's a mess. Indie Phantom. Larroquette does the voice over narration for the original and remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You kidding me? That's crazy. Um, yeah, and Mr. Beast is supposed to be like, it's a channel more aimed at kids, so this is a nightmare for him. And you're talking millions of dollars. This guy rakes it in. This is one of the most successful YouTubers out there. Alex Ogle, maybe because I'm not American, but I put National Lampoon in the same bucket of swill with Adam Sandler. Well, what you have to understand is American Lampoon, or National Lampoon, was a huge magazine back in the 70s and 80s that spawned a lot of the big comedy writers that came out of that era. So, one of the funniest guys from Animal House, I can't think of his name. I gotta look up the movie. So, Animal House was like one of the greatest comedies ever made, in my view. But a lot of the guys who worked on this movie were part of the National Lampoon, either the magazine or they had gone to, Harvard, and they had a bit of a Harvard comedy network. Douglas Kenney, this guy here. This guy was one of the key comedy writers of that era. He played Stork on Animal House. If you remember Stork, he only has like one or two lines. He says, "What are we supposed to do, you moron?" And he was just a genius. They did a documentary about this guy because that's how big he was in comedy. But he wasn't famous. He was a behind-the-scenes dude. But it was big at the time. So, like, when I was a kid, National Lampoon would be marketed like heavy metal. Like, you could kind of buy it, but you kind of weren't supposed to buy it because heavy metal had topless girls and National Lampoon would have topless girls. Like, National Lampoon would have photo comics in it sometimes, and sometimes there'd be topless girls in it. Back when, like, that was funny and outrageous. And yeah, sometimes I'd have problems trying to buy a National Lampoon magazine, or a lot of places wouldn't carry it near me. But it used to be great. Indie Phantom, National Lampoon kind of went downhill when they did The Last Resort with the two Coreys. Yeah, it was even going downhill before that. I mean, National Lampoon's Vacations were great, but then they started to degrade. Don the Second, it seems like every big YouTuber has a controversy these days. Ardent, 70s, 80s Lampoon was great. Sandler was never really consistently funny, just sophomoric. Yeah, I never really found, like, Adam Sandler, like, out of all the movies he's made, maybe two of them are funny to me, and the rest are kind of like, eh. Indie Phantom, filmmakers had only to pay $25K around 2009 to get National Lampoon's name on your comedy. Well, that explains a lot. Indie Phantom, heavy metal was badass, had a lot of issues. It certainly did. Don the Second, I'll watch Animal House soon. You talk about it a lot. I love Animal House. It's so good. Animal House is the best, I would say. But yeah, I mean, this guy on the left left his wife to be and a kid to be trans. It's like, come on. You couldn't hold out until your kid maybe graduated high school to do this. But unfortunately, it's been bad. I'll just say that. I can't get too deep into it because we're on YouTube, but whatever. I find it bad that the kid, that the kid now has to deal with its dad and his issue, I'll say. The magazine of fantasy and science fiction is the latest victim of DEI destroying culture. And this is pretty hardcore science fiction, but Indie Phantom, I adore Animal House. Rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. Yes, he's in it too. Rest in peace, Donald Sutherland and Flounder and John Belushi, and a lot of them are dead. So, fantasy and science fiction. So, to give you an idea, this is a pretty hardcore magazine for fantasy and sci-fi. You kind of got to be far down the sci-fi rabbit hole and be pretty geeky to even know what this is. But yes, they are apparently have been infected by the woke mind virus. Even though geeks are supposed to be smart, they're some of the most, I would say, they quickly turned woke, because I was still going to science fiction and fantasy events. I haven't been to one in a while, and part of the reason is they've all gone super woke really fast. The fan community in those communities got swept up in it, because even though nerds are very smart, a lot of them, they're very educated, but they are weak-willed people, I would say. A lot of them are super overweight, have terrible health problems, and it's the example of, I always like to say, in Dungeons and Dragons, you can have a character with a high intelligence but a low wisdom, meaning that they're very educated, but they do stupid things because they have very poor judgment. Even though they know things are bad for them, they do them anyway. Alex, I have been avoiding assiduously the Mr. Beast stories. I always found him distasteful. You know, I kind of like the ones where he drops stuff off a building and things, but yeah, I never really knew about the other videos he did where he talked and stuff. I don't care about those videos. I don't know who he is. DEI is really DIE, says Indie Phantom. Ardent, I remember Sutherland from Kelly's Heroes. I do too. Indie Phantom, sci-fi geeks were woke even before comic nerds. Maybe. I don't know. By that time, I was sort of easing out of the sci-fi comic scene. They were definitely... I'd say there's a lot of degeneracy in the sci-fi scene. A new player has entered the chat. NSG, Adam Sandler movies are okay. Not hilarious, not boring either. But compared to what Hollywood is churning up in post-2020, Adam Sandler movies look like masterpieces now. I have to agree with you there. Welcome, NSG. And big fan of your spice. Oh, wait, that's MSG, and that's not a spice. Alex, at NSG, wash your typing fingers with soap and water. All right. Yeah, so this, you know, if you know what the term filk means, F-I-L-K, then you know this magazine. And that's where this lives. Like, it's kind of almost unimportant, but it, you know, it's just another thing that got rocked by DEI. SFWA, another one very similar, the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association. They've been rocked by a scandal for a little while now. But, yeah, these guys apparently went woke too. Failed former editor-in-chief of The Escapist, Nick Calalandro's toxicity follows him to new media upstart Second Wind Group. What toxicity are we talking about? Former editor-in-chief of The Escapist and Kotaku's Alyssa Mercanti, fanboy Nick Calandra. Oh, okay. This Alyssa Mercanti, I don't like her. Apparently takes toxicity everywhere he goes. All right, so I guess I won't be checking out his stuff. Ardent, I used to say that if it hit big as a creator, I'd love to do the philanthropy thing like Mr. Beast. I would like to rescind that sentiment these days. I just want to help people. Filk? There's a name I have not heard in a long time. A long time. Ardent, Alex. It's true, at Indie Phantom, I could never get involved with sci-fi geeks, despite liking the material, because there was always something politically correct about them. They're just weak, in my view. You know, I would see them at shows, and they're weak, and they're very narcissistic. I'll never forget, I'm at a show, the Philadelphia Sci-Fi Show, and I bought a table because they wouldn't give me a table because they were so caught up in bureaucracy. One guy ran the tables and another guy ran the guests. And I said, well, I'm going to be a guest at the show. Why don't you just give me a table? Oh, you have to talk to so-and-so. And I had to buy a table and I hated it. Anyhow, I went to the show anyway, and I'm selling my comics. This is before the Pineys. And I don't have any science fiction comics on my table. I do have fantasy, but not science fiction. And a guy comes up to me, and he's very geeky, as a lot of the people at the Philadelphia Sci-Fi Convention are, and that's fine. But he goes, "Hey, how you doing? Comics. I'm a big fan of comics." I'm like, "Oh, good. These are my comics." And I start to try to tell him about them, and he goes, "You know what's a comic? Is Boba Fett. Here's what I like about Boba Fett." And he is off and running, man. He is just talking about Boba Fett nonstop. And at first, I'm kind of like, all right, well, he wants to tell me about Boba Fett, how much he likes it. And so about 5 minutes go by, and I'm just like, oh, my God, is this going to end? And then finally, I'm like, all right, excuse me, sir. And he goes, yes. I go, you understand, I don't have anything to do with Boba Fett. He goes, I know. And he just keeps going. He's talking and talking about Boba Fett. And then finally, I'm like, listen, I don't make Boba Fett. I make these comics. Are you interested in these comics? No, not really. I go, well, then I don't think we have any business to transact, sir. You can be on your way, because I don't really care about Boba Fett that much, if I cared about him at all. Oh, it was obnoxious. Very obnoxious. NSG, at Alex, give a few more years and even you will find that Captain Marvel movie as a masterpiece. Hollywood will give churning up more garbage from now on unless some radical changes happen in the core. Well, we'll see. I don't think they're going to do Captain Marvel. I think it'll be forgotten. Indie Phantom, I felt that way too, Alex, and can only imagine how bad it is now. A lot of Trekkers, including the cast, are super woke-tarded now. Will Wheaton, Patrick Stewart, George Takei. Well, Will Wheaton was always woke-tarded. Patrick Stewart, turned out he was always a commie. I didn't know that. Seems to be a commie anyway. That's what I heard. That's my opinion. Settle. George Takei, yeah, I think Twitter warped him. Ardent, LOL, Star Wars isn't sci-fi, damn it. Indie Phantom, LOL, Boba Fett story. God, the series of that awful. Some fans are pretty unfiltered and wacky. Yeah, it's like, I get it. You're at a sci-fi con. You kind of want to talk about that stuff. And I didn't even have customers behind him, so I had no reason to get rid of him. But after about 5 straight minutes of Boba Fett stories, I'm like, he doesn't work on Boba Fett either. Why am I listening to this? At Ardent at NSG, nobody will think that well of the CM movie. Mainstream comic industry pros attack woke activist Colin Kaepernick over his new AI venture capital-backed AI comics company. Yeah, I don't think that's going anywhere. This is, they talk about comics as and movies as sometimes as a money laundering operation. If anything's a money laundering operation, it's Colin Kaepernick's AI comic book thing. I don't know of a single person who will buy this. Not a single one. Not even Colin Kaepernick fans, I think, will buy this. Indie Phantom. Must be plenty of weird stories from the cons. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, I'll tell you about this one. So, I'm at a con, and I'm trying to get in good with this publisher, and he's a small publisher. I won't say his name for reasons that'll become clear. And we're at the hotel bar, which is the place to hang if you want to meet comic book dudes. And someone in our group comes up and says, hey, did you see those girls over there? And I kind of looked over, and there's some hot girls, and I said, oh, yeah. I said, that one of those girls is a prostitute. And immediately, the publisher is, like, on it. He hears that, and, like, the radar goes up. And he goes, really? Well, what did she say? What did she do? And he's like, well, she kind of propositioned me, or asked me if I was looking for a date, and I started to talk to her, but it's clear she wanted some money from me. Like, this hot prostitute propositioned a guy in a bar because I guess her date fell through, and she was looking to pick up some more work at the hotel bar at the Comic-Con. This isn't uncommon at a comic book show, by the way. But the publisher is on it, and he's talking and talking. He becomes completely hyper focused on this prostitute and what her deal is, and he starts rattling off things. Well, what did she say she would do for you? Would she do a BB and J or a B this and that? He had all the initials for all the sexual stuff that people do or prostitutes do, and I'm just looking at him and like, dude, you know way too much about this. And he did not stop. And then eventually, like, he's so excited, he leaves the circle. Like, we were all talking and having drinks. He leaves us to go to do some research on this prostitute who was in the bar and try to find her and get prices. And I'm like, that dude's gonna go bang that prostitute, isn't he? And everybody's like, yeah, he's clearly a guy who's into prostitutes. Ardent AI, yeah, just what comics needs less humanity. Yeah, I don't know of a single person who would buy an AI comic written by Colin Kaepernick of all people. JC, people hate AI and most people hate Colin what's his face. Indie Phantom, I don't think most of these Star Wars films will happen. Clownfish saying so too. Yeah, no, a lot of them are being canceled. The Lando show, I think, just got axed. Ardent LOL. Don the second he was ready, he was completely ready. Alex, Star Wars canon ended with the prequel trilogy and those masterful Plinkett films. Ardent, I had a pro try to pick me up at a folk festival once. Poor thing must have been desperate. JC, if you wanted to get in with the publisher, you should have bought her for him, and you snooze, you lose, Tony. I didn't have that kind of bank, but yeah. NSG, that guy was starving. Don the second, she probably charged him extra. I would have charged him extra. He was not a handsome man, I'll say. He was kind of a fat, middle-aged dude. But man, he perked right up when that conversation started. And you could tell just like the whole energy shifted in the room. We were just having a boring talk about comics, and then it was like, oh, prostitutes. So, speaking of which, San Diego Comic-Con this week was rocked by a human trafficking sting. But this was, I think it's being a little exaggerated, I want to say, only because, well, not a little, but a tiny bit, only because the guys they caught were all Johns, I think, trying to buy hookers at San Diego Comic-Con. But they did recover the girls, who I guess were forced to be there. But according to what I've read so far about it, they didn't capture any of the actual human smugglers. Like, they sent the girls on their own, I guess, expecting them to come back with the money. And instead, they all got caught. But one of the girls was 16, so somebody's in a lot of trouble. And but all the guys who got caught were all, like, I assume, comic book guys, like the guy I just talked about. Indie Phantom, I work with an ultra video game, an anime nerd who blows ridiculous cash on hookers and Nuru massage. He got ripped off multiple times in Asia. Oh wow. Well, that's a danger with anything that's illegal, whether it's drugs or hookers or whatever. They're criminals. So robbing you, if they could do it, why wouldn't you do it? You're already breaking the law. So Ardent, LOL, what? Desperate nerds. Yeah, this was, I've been to San Diego. I don't know how you have money for anything, much less hookers, because everything's so damn expensive out there. I couldn't afford a hotel, much less a hooker. But, yeah, it's not a good time. Oh, and then, my girlfriend, I had mentioned this article, and she asked me about it, and I said, yeah, there was a rumor at one con I was at. It might have been San Diego, but I don't think it was. But there was some scream queen, and I forget her name, but she was kind of hot. But the rumor was she was making bank upstairs in her room, basically banging any nerd who had $200. I don't know how true it was. I didn't have $200, so I didn't find out. JEC, I mean, if it's a sting, they could just set up with a hotel room and order escorts and tell them you're attending the con and arrest them when they showed up, I guess. But see, the pimps are never there. Don the second, yeah, it seems really sketchy. Stormy, hey Tony, I'm home, lol. Welcome back, Stormy. Indie Phantom, yeah, a bunch of sleazy nerds trolling cons. Don the second, Comic Con seemed cool when I was in middle school, but that crap is too expensive. I'd only go if I got flown out. Yeah, me too now. Now that I've been there a couple of times. The only way you could really make money is if the way I did it, where the publisher paid for everything. Like, then I made money. If the one time I paid for myself, oh god, it was a nightmare. I didn't make any money. And also a table's expensive. I mean, everything's expensive. You have to do that on a big scale to make any money. Ardent, she brought me cheese. All is forgiven. That's so nice. Indie Phantom, yeah, porn stars often work cons and they bled into horror conventions. Oh yeah. Yeah, but you know what? That's not a good place for any of that shenanigans to happen, because horror nerds are they're not really nerds. So those guys all got girlfriends. Half of them show up with a hot goth chick on their arm. So not a tremendous amount of nerdiness in the horror end, I would say. Those guys tend to be cooler. They tend to just be in, and the girls tend to come with them. And it's more like 50-50 guys and girls at those kind of shows, whereas like comic shows, it's all guys. It's all guys. Don the second, the underworld of comic book conventions. Oh, you have no idea, dude. You have literally no idea. The stuff I've seen. The horror. The horror. I got to do Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now. Right, give me a sec here.
You were sent by grocery store clerks. The horror.
I can't do it now. Back when he was doing The Island of Dr. Monroe, I almost had my Marlon Brando impersonation down. Ardent, LOL, porn stars at horror cons? Are they dating or auditioning? They're probably looking for, regular acting work. Indie Phantom, good point. I am proud to be more of a horror nerd. Yeah, I rarely... When I see horror nerds, they usually got girls. JC, pretty good. And they got stuff to do. Like, they show up at the show and they're like, yeah, no, we're leaving after this. We're going someplace else. Like, the comic guys, they've got nothing to do. Don the second, you could make a documentary about this stuff. It'd be hilarious. Yeah, I'd never work in it again. They'd be like, you son of a bitch. You exposed us all. Indie Phantom, Brando in Island of Dr. Moreau is hilarious. Oh my god, it's so great.
I've got my bucket hat, and I've got ice on the bucket.
Ardent, Stormy's a horror nerd. I don't see the attraction myself. Well, first off, there's girls at the con, so there's a huge plus. I don't know. The ladies, I'll tell you what the ladies also got really into back when it was big was the vampire LARP game, the live action role playing game. Oh, that was big. Back in the 90s, that was a hot game. And all the girls got into it. Every single one of them played a vampire just so they could dress up super slutty and pretend to be a female vampire. Indie Phantom, Felisa Rose was pretty hot recently. Maybe she was working cons. I doubt she would need to, but she's probably made her money. I don't know. That's pretty down in the dumps when you're working a con, I would say. Seems to me she could do an OnlyFans and do all right for herself if she wanted to. And then you don't actually have to have sex with any of these sweaty a-holes. Stormy, the women are hot and dumb, LOL. Well, I mean, that's where all the goth chicks went, I think, into the horror fandom. But a lot of them were very much into the vampire role-playing game. Indie Phantom, girls love going slut on Halloween. That's kind of what it was. It was kind of like early Halloween. Alex, I liked it when the Pomo convention was on, or the porno convention was on at Las Vegas at the same time as CES one year. Won a couple of hundred in blackjack and paid for a colleague and I to attend. We bought a lollycock for another chap, and my colleague got stopped at the airport security with it. He told me I was supposed to take it in my check-on luggage. Alrighty. You guys are having a good time. I went to a Las Vegas con once. It was a Comic-Con. I did a Comic-Con, and then I did a gaming trade show there once, and that's where I met Andy Serkis. And he was going on and on about not getting an Oscar for Gollum. Which, I felt bad for the guy, but, like, what was I going to do? All right, moving on. NSG, most girls get into cosplaying so that they can dress up slutty. I have rarely seen any girl choose completely cover up cosplay. Some of them should. And I don't mean that as a slam against people who are heavier, but some of these girls wear costumes and they're not attractive on them. They have the wrong body type. You can't wear a skin tight outfit if you're morbidly obese. You just can't. You could be a bar wench and wear like a dress that fits you right. There's certain characters you could do, but Jesus. Oh, some of the girls who wear cosplay now, just gross. They're just disgusting. And then they get mad if someone says anything, but God, you're selling pictures of yourself. You look terrible. You look unhealthy. Like, I'm talking morbidly obese people. There's some people that kind of borderline, they don't look great, but they don't look terrible. But Jesus, if you're going to wear something skin tight, I wouldn't wear anything skin tight. No way. I got a gut. What am I supposed to do? I mean, if I'm doing a comedy character, maybe, but jeez. Indie Phantom. Alex, I used to hit the CES and AVN in Las Vegas too. I would have badges for both. Those were the days. Don the Second, bar wenches, crazy. Yeah, but see, it's all top heavy, right? So they can do the cleavage, and if you're heavy, you probably got good cleavage. And then the dress hides most of the rest. Arnett, if you're built like a bouncing boy, you shouldn't dress like a white witch or starfire. Exactly. Don the Second, common wench. Yeah. Arnett, I'd go as Dr. Druid in tights. Yeah, like, I'm an older guy. I'm not going to go as, like, Spider-Man. You got to be in shape to do a Spider-Man. I've seen fat Spider-Man. It's sad, man. Fat Batman's sad. Fat Batman is just sad, dude. You shouldn't do fat Batman. Like, you could do fat, noir detective with a trench coat, because a trench coat covers you up. You might be able to get away with fat Blade if you're not too fat. There's like a couple that are sort of borderline, but, you could do Doctor Who if you're heavy. You can get away with Doctor Who because you'll do Tom Baker and you have an overcoat, or, you'll have something that you'll have in it, more clothes. It's maybe you could do Doctor Strange if you're fat, if you have like the cloak and everything. You can't do Thor. You can't be a fat Thor. Maybe you could do fat Thor, like hilarious comedy Thor, but not like actual Thor. Indie Phantom, fat Batman is real. He is real. I've seen him many times. Indie Phantom. Then CES, Consumer Electronics Show, Tony, went woke and banned the booth babes at the same time the AVN moved dates. That sucks. Don the Second, fat cosplay is hilarious. It always turns into memes. It certainly does. Ardent, fat Batman, either go Blunt Man or Harvey Bullock. Yeah. There's plenty of fat costumes. You could go the Blob. You could do Silent Bob. There's a whole litany of fat guys you could do. Same thing for the ladies. There's stuff. And especially now that they're doing women with different bodies in comics or whatever. Indie Phantom. Alex, that is sad about CES, but not unexpected. Alex Ogle, fat Hulk with hairy shoulders. I mean, it depends on how fat you are. I mean, these morbidly obese guys, No, Indie Phantom said, Alex, that is sad about CES, but not expected. Over at Hollywood Reporter, like, you can't be a fat Deadpool or fat Wolverine. You just can't. You could have, like, if I had that suit, one of those suits, I might be able to pull it off because the suit would cover most of me. I'm not, like, if I sucked in my gut and the suit acted as a girdle, I could probably pull off, I probably could pull off Wolverine more than I could pull off, say, Deadpool. If I'm all, or maybe not, because Deadpool, I could cover up my face. So I could maybe just pull it off, but any fatter, no way. Indie Phantom, guess Fat Thor is acceptable. Yeah, if you're doing the Fat Thor from the movie when he gained all the weight, but not like I'm actual Thor and I'm in fighting shape. So from the Hollywood Reporter, Julia Louise-Dreyfus says Kamala Harris is too smart to take advice from Veep character Selena Meyer. I mean, I don't know what kind of statement that is. Julia Louise-Dreyfus can't do enough for Democrats, apparently. Don the Second, I'd play Black Wolverine. That would be kind of cool. I mean, that's been a thing in cons where somebody does a cosplay, but they change it for whatever reason, whether it's like a character that's not normally black and then you're doing a black version or whatever, you know. The big one is when they do variations on the Stormtrooper costume. That's a thing. So that, like, there's a guy who does samurai Stormtrooper, so it's a Stormtrooper costume, but he modified it so he looks like a samurai. There's a Pimp Stormtrooper. There's a Hello Kitty Stormtrooper. There's a bunch of them. Those are kind of cool. The costume place, the costume con to go to used to be Dragon Con, because that was where cosplay was before cosplay got big. Cosplay is at all the cons now, but back then it was mainly only at Dragon Con. So only the best costumes would come. Ardent, LOL, get a bunch of fat buddies. I'll go as the Haagen-Dazs Avengers. That would be funny. The funniest part would be like if you did bits with it, like you take pictures with like everybody kind of like out of breath, you know, leaning against things like that, or if you know, somebody was in a real villain costume, you know, not fat villain costume, and he had the last Haagen-Dazs, and all the heroes are like, no. Indie Phantom, Kamala Harris is smart suddenly. This is getting nuts. Yeah, I mean the gaslighting is pretty sheer around Kamala Harris, if you ask me. Don the Second, we was mutants and shit. Alex Ogle, damn it, Dreyfus, shut your stupid mouth. You're ruining my fantasies about you. Oh no, you have fantasy. Well, she's not bad looking. I mean, she's getting up there now, but Alex Ogle at Don the Second, haha. Ardent at Don the Second, LOL. Don the Second, Pimp Stormtrooper sounds like my next Halloween costume. Ardent, LOL. Get the hat and coat from Huggy Bear. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. He had the hat over the Stormtrooper and then the thing, and the Pimp came. It was very funny. Sherry Lee Ralph believes Kamala Harris has it in her to make history. Yeah, the worst presidential, either the worst presidential loss in human history or the biggest cheat in America and the destruction of our country, I would say. But I don't think she's going to win. But vote, damn it, vote. Vote like your life depended on it. Let's see. Kanye West found a buyer for his gutted Malibu house. So there you go there. Let's see. Nothing really going on here at Hollywood Reporter. Zack Snyder breaks down Rebel Moon director's cuts. an implication of that 300 prequel series. How do you direct a movie for Netflix as Zack Snyder and then do a director's cut of your own movie as if they recut the movie for you? It's on Netflix. They don't need to do that. Like, when they do different cuts of the movie, it's because the studio is like, this movie's too long. Has to be 90 minutes so they could show more of the movie. We make more money. Like, stuff like that. There's no reason for Netflix to do that. You can make the movie 10 hours long. Who cares? It's on Netflix. Either people watch it or they don't. Either Netflix pays for it or doesn't. At Don the Second from Alex. Stormtrooper with platform shoes and goldfish in the platform shoes. I'm gonna get you, sucker. I love that movie. Ardent. Snipes broke records. Yeah, he has been, because he was in the Deadpool movie, spoilers, he is the longest running actor in the MCU. So he breaks Hugh Jackman's record. So that's why you should bring back Wesley Snipes as Blade, at least for one more movie. He could pass the torch in the movie, because he's a vampire. Something crazy could happen to him where he, like, in one movie they had a giant pool of blood because the villain in Blade was going to make himself younger or turn into a god or whatever. You could have the climax of the movie be Wesley Snipes fall into a pit like that during the battle and sacrifice himself, and then at the end of the movie he lives, but now the energy has revitalized him and now he's younger, and then you pass the torch to another actor. That to me would be awesome. Don the Second at Alex Ogle. 100 times than any of the new trilogy. Ardent, damn it, I can't wait to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh, I'm sorry if I spoiled that for you. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Stuck the landing, but Larry David isn't done. Larry David is still a comedy genius despite his politics. Indie Phantom. Ryan Reynolds was in Blade 3 2. Oh, that's right. I heard that. I don't remember him in that. I don't remember if I saw the third one. Alex Ogle. They should bring Snipes back one last time, but he'll just be humiliated by some fat lesbian they then. I'd like to think they wouldn't do that and they could pass the torch to another actor, but yeah, you might be right. Ardent. I don't mind spoilers when they're cool. Rumor. Marvel Studios fired all the producers that could be labeled activists. Lucasfilm's doubling down on all the nonsense. Well, that could be good. That could be very good. I mean, who cares about Star Wars at this point? I think they've ruined it for at least the next generation. But now that Deadpool and Wolverine has done well, you could save the MCU. You could pull out of this dive. If you give Ryan Reynolds the keys to the kingdom, he can fix it. I have confidence in him. Let him be the guy to greenlight stuff. Let him be the guy to pick the scripts. Ardent. Yeah, Reynolds' Hannibal King was basically another Deadpool. Oh. Don the Second. It's hard to talk about Deadpool without spoiling. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I won't mention anything else. There's a bunch of other cameos too, so. NSG. Snyder thinks of himself as some kind of messiah or something. He thinks people are dying for director's cuts. Ever since that Justice League movie, you will see him bringing out more director's cuts. Yeah, it's stupid. I don't want to see the first version of Rebel Moon, much less a director's cut that's longer. That just sounds like it's going to suck longer. Don the Second, rated R, Star Wars, when? You might see that soon because they're getting pretty desperate. And now that Deadpool and Wolverine is the highest rated R-rated movie, that could be the new trend. They could decide, oh, here's the problem. We need R rating somehow. So let's add a bunch of cursing. Or add some titties. Indie Phantom. I haven't seen Deadpool either, but I feel like the spoilers are not a big deal to me. It's there's a lot of jokes in it, so but I won't. No more spoilers. It's good. Go see it, I would say. Ardent. At Don the Second. R-rated Star Wars wouldn't really work unless they do Bounty Hunter Star Wars or something. I mean, they could just make it dirty. I mean, you know. WB Games job listing suggests Hogwarts Legacy sequel now in development. So that's probably a good thing. Oh, and speaking of more crime, arrest warrant issued for Power Rangers Samurai Green Ranger actor Hector David Riviera over alleged assault of elderly Ohio man. I believe this was caught on video. So, this dude, this is the second guy. Yeah, see this here, it looks like he may have assaulted some dude. So, Ardent. The Bounty Hunters Star Wars Wars was a legend storyline. Oh. Alex, they can dismiss all the activist producers they want. There will be no improvement without dismissing the infection at the top. I hope so. I mean, I hope they dismiss Bob Iger eventually. I don't know when that could happen, though. It may be that they will compartmentalize things enough that just the MCU, something like just the MCU, will be, oh, this will appeal to all the boys that keep complaining about our movies, and we'll just leave that alone, and then we'll go off and do a bunch of woke crap and all the other stuff. Maybe something like that, at least initially, until they realize all their woke crap doesn't make any money. I mean, at this point, I don't know what their plan is, other than to bankrupt themselves and sell the pieces to China. I don't know what the plan is. It's very strange to me, because they're not making money. Well, they made some money with Inside Out, and that wasn't woke from what I hear, so. Deadline. Faye Dunaway talks cathartic experience of sharing bipolar disorder in documentary. Oh, God, she has bipolar disorder? Okay. Now, how have I not heard about stories about her being hard to work with then? But maybe she stayed on her meds? I don't know. Park fire, now fourth largest in California history as Los Angeles heat wave brings elevated risk. Said this before, and I'll say it again. The problem with California is they don't do something called back burning, which we do here in New Jersey. In South Jersey, the Pine Barrens catch fire every year. Every single freaking year. We have 1 million square acres of, it's supposed to be untouched wilderness. It's not completely untouched. And what happens is, it's the Pine Barrens is all pine trees. All the pine needles drop down. They turn orange because they're dead, like leaves, but they last way longer than leaves. And a bunch of that and the underbrush together can go up in smoke very quickly and start a fire. So what they do in sections of the Pine Barrens is they do what's called back burning or controlled burns. They burn off the underbrush in a controlled burn in certain areas, knowing that they're going to light the fire. They dig trenches so the fire doesn't spread, and then they let it burn out, and then they keep the fire from spreading, and then they know certain sections they've taken away the fuel for the fire. That is what they do not do in California anymore, because my understanding, the environmentalist said it's harmful to the animals, therefore you shouldn't do it. But you know what's more harmful to the animals? Idiot eco warriors. The fourth largest fire in California history. That's much worse than back burning. By back burning, when there is a fire, it's much smaller. So you should do back burning, is my point. That is wildlife management. It's not hurting the animals, it's helping them. Yes, some animals might get caught up in the back burning, and that's unfortunate, but you need to do it because The not doing it means more of the forest will burn and more animals will be harmed. Alex Ogle. The Disney leadership are doing exactly what it takes to hang on, keep scrambling the lower levels so the blame can't be passed up the chain. Yeah, maybe. Indie Phantom. Bipolar, is that something to do with furries? It is not. Basically, it means you have very strong mood swings. In case you don't know, I had a friend who had a bipolar girlfriend, and one minute she was making us cookies, and the next minute she was screaming at him at the top of her lungs. And I'm sitting there with my cookie, going, "Oh, what happened? What did I do?" Ardent, LOL at Indie Phantom. The I don't care bears. Indie Phantom. Controlled burn is what Lucasfilm needs. Ardent or Scorched Earth. Alex at Indie Phantom. Actually, no. The need to let the structure stabilize so it becomes clear how far up the problem goes. What else? Gillian Anderson addresses that infamous Emmys kiss with David Duchovny. I guess they were just being friendly because they're co-workers. I don't know. And they're both single, I think. LAPD releases suspect photos in actor Johnny Wachter's murder. That's not the suspect. That's Johnny Wachter. He was an actor named Wachter. This poor guy, I believe, he was shot and killed during an attempted catalytic converter theft in the early morning hours of May 25th. I think he tried to stop it for another person, and a guy shot him or whatever. So sad. Here's the story. Wachter was leaving his shift as a bartender when he noticed three men who had raised his vehicle with a floor jack on the 1200 block of Hope Street in downtown Los Angeles. He was shot in the ensuing confrontation. The suspects fled. They don't even have a suspect. That's awful. So, Indie Phantom, are there non-bipolar girlfriends? I must find one of these elusive creatures. Yes? All right, going to Bleeding Fool. Oh, this is also a big news story dropped today. Bruce Campbell set to voice Ash in animated version of The Evil Dead. So they're doing an animated Evil Dead, which I'm all about. That should be fun. And we can go back to young Ash. He could stop doing jokes about how old he is. I could see that. Could fill in some of the gaps between the movies. This was news. I think it was this week. Marvel appears biased against their female Jewish superheroes. I think they backed off of this. They initially were going to make her Russian, and then in the last second they said, oh, all right, we'll make her Jewish. So, there's this character in Marvel Comics. Basically, she's like a superhero for Israel. And they added her in some storyline. She's not even that popular. But they're putting her in the new Avengers movie. Alex, I have a video lined up from the British comedian Jim Davidson about the riots in the UK. It's been another eventful weekend. Oh no, I know. I've been following some of it. I don't know what to say to for you guys now. I mean, at this point, it's like, and I could say this about the UK. I can't say this about the United States, and I wouldn't say it about the United States at this time, but in the UK, it seems like things are so bad. Maybe now is the time to overthrow your government when you're in a situation where hopefully the army will feel bad about shooting you, right? Because it's the only way. But I don't know. That sounds pretty bloody too. Either way you slice it, but maybe have a better chance now than to wait 5 years and try to vote your way out. I don't think the socialists are going to let you vote your way out, but maybe they would. Or maybe just the constant pressure from the other side and Nigel Farage would eventually drive Keir Starmer out of power and just collapse Labour as the Tories collapse. something like that. Ardent, LOL, the thing to remember at Indie Phantom is that all women appear to be bipolar. No comment at this time. I got a girlfriend, guys. Don't ruin this for me. No, I mean, look. I think the way it works is this. Women tend to think more with their feelings than men. And because of that, they don't make a lot of sense. And when that happens, they just want the feeling that things are going to be okay. And so if you can give them that feeling, you're golden. But if you can't, you just gotta sit there and listen to a blah 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 until it's over. So depends on if you want to do that kind of maintenance. I'm still in the honeymoon phase of having a new hot girlfriend who does nice things for me. So we haven't had that problem yet. We haven't had an argument, but I think we've been together like a month. Has it been a month? What is this, August? Maybe it's been a month, something like that. So we're just having a good time. But, as you get older, it gets a little easier too. When you're young, everything's like super intense. And, but, Indie Phantom, I'm pretty sure that it didn't take much to convince Bruce to return his ass. Should be fun. Yes. Ardent at Alex Ogle. Apparently the Irish have reunified just in time to make Star Trek The Next Generation prescient. Alex Ogle at Ardent. Yes, I saw that but had forgotten the TNG reference. Well done, sir. Indie Phantom. Apparently new Batman Cape Crusader has a female penguin or something. Looking forward to the actual Penguin series. Yeah, the Cape Crusader looks completely woke-tarded. I believe the neurotic guys are hammering it. Ardent, can't take the credit. Some Twitter nerd reminded me of it. Ardent at Tony, not yours though. Exactly. Alex, women aren't bipolar. They just appear that way to keep men on their toes. Possibly. Indie Phantom, if you go PR, girlfriend is watching, Tony, you're probably in trouble anyway. What time is it? Nah, she's asleep. Alex Ogle. It's like the scene in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy where the spy, played by Mark Strong, is worked by the Soviets. Sleep deprivation and startling noises are how women do it. NSG. Women are like kids. Oh boy. A kid will start crying, whining, etc. when they feel unsafe. You make them feel safe and you are gold. Indie Phantom. Tinker Tailor was one flick that went way over my head, Alex. Didn't they do two versions of that? Wasn't there a TV show and then the movie? Or am I thinking of something else? Disney announces more Star Wars The Acolyte content with prequel novels. I know you'll be buying them. Rush right out and buy those novels. I don't even know why they're bothering. How's Disney, a company that makes billions of dollars, gonna make any kind of money on books? Like, how are you even gonna make money? What do you think? Millions of people didn't even watch the damn show. You need to sell millions of books to make that even work. Why even do this? Doesn't make any sense. Indie Phantom. Yeah, two versions. I thought so. Ardent. Stormy does talk about how I make her feel safe a lot. Oh, that's nice. Alex. The TV show with Alec Guinness was superb. The film was accessible. Aha. BBC pulls Doctor Who content over disgraced news presenter and child killer. Woof. Not Doctor Who's another one that's just going right down the crapper. Again, I would reboot it right after Sylvester McCoy. I know, Peter, you'd lose Peter Capaldi and the other guy. I think it's a sacrifice that needs to happen. And David Tennant. David Tennant has to go. He's in on it, it seems. Who was the other guy? Oh, Matt Smith. Sorry, you got to lose him too. You got to lose him out of canon. Out of canon, all of them. Do do do. NSG. Disney is planting seeds for the future. This is a long game. Yes, it's very Chinese of them. I think in the long run, though, this all backfires on them, and they end up selling the parks and becoming an IP that somebody owns. I don't know who's going to win in the end, though. That's the only thing that's tough to see. Maybe Universal. Alex, reboot it from McCoy straight to Capaldi. Yeah, you could get Capaldi back. Indie Phantom, Doctor Who needs to go, period. At this point, you might as well shelve it for 10, 20 years like Star Wars and reboot it down the road, but we'll see what happens. If I had my druthers, I would reboot it at Sylvester McCoy. Alex, at Indie Phantom, yes, let it rest for a few years. Or forever. You could always do something else. The Rap. Chris Christie credits Donald Trump for potential Democratic VP. He created Josh Shapiro. As we all know, Chris Christie is vital to the movie industry and should be in The Rap. Like, why are you covering this fat F? The Rap? And why is he not eating more Krispy Kremes instead of talking? Robert Kennedy Jr., again, not a movie guy, explains how he secretly dumped a dead bear cub in Central Park. Okay, just when I thought he couldn't get any wackier. Indie Phantom, if Kamala wins, we know which direction the world is going in. Communist. Ardent, reboot Blake Sevens. Forget Doctor Who. George Stephanopoulos, exasperated with Byron Donalds questioning Kamala Harris's racial identity. That's not what happened in the video. George Stephanopoulos badgered Byron Donalds with questions about what Donald Trump said about Kamala Harris, about an issue that is evidently true. Kamala Harris marketed herself as an Indian senator and now is marketing herself as a black presidential candidate. That is ostensibly true. It's not a lie. It's true. And Trump has once again created the conversation that will eventually unravel Kamala. Alex at Ardent, yes, although they'd mess it up with that DEI nonsense. Indie Phantom, Chris Christie dancing vid was the least sexy thing that ever happened to. Wow, I didn't see that one. Ardent at Alex Ogle, in an ideal world though. Indie Phantom, the internet. Chris Christie dancing video? I can't play the music. This is on Red State. Is this it? Oh, let me, I gotta turn off the sound. How do I do that? Oh, man. I can't turn it off. How do you turn off sound on Instagram? Oh, jeez. Fortunately, there's enough noise. I think I can kind of keep stopping and starting it. What is he singing? Oh, God. All right. I've seen enough. Indie Phantom. Kamala identifies as black now. Yes, she does. Ardent. LOL. Kamala is Indian and black from a certain point of view. All right. Where was I? Cosmic Book News. Alex. I'd like to think that one day the media will have to go back to telling the truth, but reading old Dorothy L. Sayers' novels of her character Lord Peter Wimsey, the media has always been unreliable. Yes. They will just be unreliable in a different way, I think. Indie Phantom, that's a different vid, but it still works. Okay. NSG, I am an Indian from India. We don't want Kamala to identify as us, or even link to us. You can have her, USA. Damn it. What else? Yeah, here's the Caped Crusader's Rotten Tomatoes score. So, shocker to find that critics loved it. Fans, not so sure. Indie Phantom. With my current summer tam, I am legit blacker than Kamala. Alright, let's see. Captain Marvel already canceled following the Marvel's failure. What is it? What is this, from a year ago? More on Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon director's cut. Bombs with critics and fans on Rotten Tomatoes. Ardent, LOL, make Kamala Hindi again. That's pretty funny. Let's see. Got anything else here? Nope. I think we've finally run out of road. I think we've finally run out of stuff. Oh my god, it's 10:07. All right. Well, I gotta start wrapping this up. Whew! What a live stream. What a live stream. And we talked about so many things. Let's see. What did we learn? Deadpool's going to make $1 billion and will be the highest grossing movie, R-rated movie, and the first R-rated movie, I think, to make $1 billion. Ardent, all Snyder did with Rebel Moon was rip off everything from the 70s forward. Yeah, I don't think he tells stories is the problem. He just does cool stuff. He just takes a bunch of... He kind of reminds me, and this isn't a slam against either one of them, but because I kind of like them, because they're trying to do cool stuff. I just wish I could have an hour-long conversation with both these guys to explain to him they don't know what they're doing in the story. And if they told a good story and did the cool stuff, you can make it work. So, like Todd McFarlane, to me, he's the Zack Snyder of comic books. Like, Todd has totally cool visuals and even totally cool ideas. Like Spawn, kind of a cool idea. But the execution is absolute A. Because, I mean, he had writers in the beginning, but, you know, he doesn't... he only listens to them so much. And he really should listen to them a lot. Ardent, I'm thinking I may get my fellow Sultans of Chatelet to play a drinking game with those two shows. Drink every time you recognize another IP. Ooh, interesting. Indie Phantom, we learn cosplay needs to be reserved for hotties. Yes. Yes, it does. I mean, you know, and look, it's different if you... There's two kinds of cosplay people. There are kind of cosplays who just show up and they're fans and they just dress up and it's, you know, you're not really trying to win a contest or anything. You're just kind of there and you thought you'd wear some bunny ears or something. But then there's the other kind who want attention. And those are the kinds that need to be good. Like if you're in a contest or you're vying for attention and photos, you got to look good. And if you're wearing a costume that doesn't fit your body, you should not wear that costume. You should wear something else. Ardent, we learned that women are either devious or deranged, and that's okay. Well, we learned something about women. I'm not sure what, but yeah, I've learned that most women don't come to my show, except Holly and Stormy. I didn't see Holly here this week. Alex, we learned that fat superheroes could be hilarious, but only if you pick the right ones. Yes. Yes, there was a fat girl superhero called Faith. She was a Valiant Comics character. They were trying to push the fat girl superhero. It was fine. I mean, you could dress up as Faith. She's fat. You'd look like her if you dressed up as Faith. I mean, there's not a lot of them. They're not very popular. What do you want from me? I pitched a fat superhero. I never got to write the story, but the idea was she had kind of sort of almost like Supergirl type powers, but it was tied into her metabolism, and she couldn't get enough exercise, the idea was. And when she was a superhero and very famous, she did a ton of cocaine and was up all night fighting crime, because that was the only way she could burn off enough calories to still look great. but then she decides to give up the life because it's too hedonistic, and she has kids, and she doesn't want to be a superhero anymore. And now she's enormously fat, but she still has the superpowers. But she can't burn off the fat because she can't get enough exercise. Ardent at Alex Ogle. The fact that Graviton isn't a fat ass in the comics appalls me. Stormy, you will never figure us out, LOL. Damn it. Ardent, Faith. Yes. Alex Ogle at Stormy. The trouble is figuring out whether you are random or chaotic. Yes, the science will continue, gentlemen. Yes. Ardent, she's anacro impossible. NSG, to all of you, I recommend Super Lopez 2018. It's a hilarious Spanish take on Superman. It's Superman with a mustache. It's hilarious. Ooh, that sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. Super Lopez. I just love the title of that. Oh, awesome. It's good to get a movie. Is that on Netflix? I bet it's not, or else I would have heard about it. Oh, I can't log in. Oh, can I? No, you don't see it. You don't see my thing. Okay. Let's see if Super Lopez is on here. No, it's not. Godzilla -1 is on Netflix, though. If you haven't seen that, see that. Oh, look. They got an asterisk thing. Yeah, they got a bunch of other superhero things. I saw Baby Driver. That was good. Monster House wasn't bad. Ardent later. Ardent oop. NM. Indie Phantom. Good stream. Have to rewind to the box office portion. Take care all and have a great week. Have a great week, everybody. Next up for me, I'll be at... Where the hell am I going? Somewhere. I got to try to find my site. There it is. I'm going to Preferred Care at Absecon, New Jersey. That's on Tuesday at 2 p.m. for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. Then on the 7th, Wednesday, I'll be at the Franklin Township Senior Club. Also for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. Oh, then on the 8th, I'll be... Where am I on the 8th? I got something written there, but I can't read it. Oh, Jesus, I better figure that out. Am I looking at the wrong month? I am looking at the wrong month. No, the 9th, I'm at the Bayshore Center at Bivalve in Port Norris, New Jersey. Oh, that's going to be good. And then on the 10th, I'm in the Parlor at Keyport in Keyport, New Jersey. Then on the 11th, I'm at Nerdfest at the Holiday Inn in Swedesboro. And finally on the 12th, I'm at Mystic Meadows Rehab and Nursing Center in Egg Harbor Township. Wow, it's going to be a busy week. Ardent, LOL, I thought that said sightings and appearances. It could say that. That would still work. So anyhow, I'm going to end the stream here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.